Oh, buddy, Papa Gibbs is cooking. I don't even know if I want to announce what I just fucking scheduled yet. That shit is fire. Oh, buddy. Um, the um. Oh man, yeah. Get the rosary out. Yeah, we're gonna hold on. We're actually gonna do a little prayer real quick. Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, thank you for blessing me with my content creation the last couple months, and really since I've gotten into the politics. I appreciate all the assistance. You are all powerful. We can do all things through you. Thank you for helping me and continuing to help me. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. All right, so yeah, we are handing out the whoopings, boys. That was a fantastic call. I will announce that shit later. In fact, I think that we got something interesting here. I'm gonna talk to this guy tonight. We got a good show tonight. We're gonna be interviewing. God damn, I can never remember this guy's name. Yeah. So yeah, big news. I'm not gonna announce that yet because I want to get that locked down. But I'm gonna be locking. Oh, buddy, we're gonna be doing a lot of big fucking shit here. It's all coming together. The Lord is smiling upon Papa Gibby. Bro, I can't even believe that call just happened. I don't even know how they got my fucking number. Don't know how they got my number. Uh, but that is big time. Let me text Mama Gibbs. Oh boy. Oh boy. Like I said, we'll get the rosary back out. One time, another prayer. Dear Lord, I want to thank, I'm back here again. Thank you, Lord, for assisting me in these endeavors. You are really smiling upon me, and I just want to show my appreciation, dear God. I know it's not every day we talk, but I appreciate it. Thank you. And Jesus' name, Christ, we pray. Amen. Yeah, so it is going well. Yeah, also, Aber's here. She sells rosaries. Check it out. Brothers, so at 2 o'clock, so in an hour. I wanted to be live about 50 minutes ago, but you know how it is. Uh, every time I go live with an impromptu stream, I fucking get blown up. And today is no exception. But first, I just want to point out something. We're gonna review Connor's review of my shit because if there's anything I am, it's a Connor hater. I We are scaling, boys. Sorry. We are scaling, but I just want to go on record saying if there's one thing I am, it is a Connor hater because fuck that puto. I don't have very much drama, but if you get on my bad side, mm, that is tough tits. Let me tell you. Okay, all right. So first, Connor, as before we begin, I'm gonna just take a quick leak because I'm too excited. I'm too excited. We gotta pitch. We gotta pitch ourselves. Oh, buddy. Mm-hmm. Oh man. Yeah, boy. I gotta say, I am on a roll. Hold on a second. My mom's texting. All right, sorry. Oh man, Mama Gibbs. Oh yeah, she's over here talking. Oh yeah, brother. We had to tell Mama Gibbs. Mama Gibbs, me and my mama, we talk. I love my mama, but actually, honestly, my parents are fantastic. I can't say that. My dad's a saint. My mom, she had a lot of neurological problems. There was a lot of pain growing up, and she wasn't always the nicest person. Me and my mom are very similar personalities. We're very much like get up in your ass. We're gonna like argue. We're gonna scream at each other, yada yada, like etc. etc. But like as she's got older, she's gotten treatments for it, and she feels much better. She's much nicer now. And I'm going back. I'm looking back. Like, and I think she was just in a lot of pain. Which if you're in a lot of pain, you're gonna be angry a lot, right? And so I get it, but it's made me who I am today, so I don't regret it. But yeah, so me and my mom are pretty close now, and we talk almost every day. So I had to tell her to share the news while it was happening with her because I just called her right before about something else. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, her thing was like, she would literally be like locked in a room for like 2, 3 days just in agony, right? And then she'd come out and she'd just be a bitch, right? And, she still sometimes like reverts back to bitchy mode, right? And like, me and very similar personalities. So, like, when we fight bad. Now, I don't know if you know anything about me, but, average here can tell you, if you come to me cattywampus, I'm not exactly a real chill person. Y'all really get more chill Gibbs. Y'all haven't seen like people are always like, oh yeah, you turn it up for stream. I turn my shit way down, way down. Like I'm like a 3 or a 4 on stream, and like my day to day, I'm like a 12. Like so if you fucking fight me, Lord, Lord. So like me and my mom are going after each other, kind of up in each other's shit. Yeah, my parents wouldn't have done. No, it was a whole different situation, but similar. But yeah, same, but different. Yeah, and she was not doing good. Like they don't really even know what's wrong with her. But she got on. I got her in with this acupuncturist lady. She's a doctor, regular doctor, like American. She also has a doctor in Eastern medicine. She has like 2 doctors in Eastern medicine. She's got like 3 doctors. Super smart. And the lady did acupuncture for my back injury, and it helped me a lot. And I'm like, why don't you just try this? And she got my mom on a clean diet. She got my mom on this acupuncture stuff, and like my mom's health like improved dramatically, like within like a short period of time. And she like, oh yeah. So all right, let's get to it because I only have about I might be getting up to go to lunch here in an hour, but it depends. We'll see here. Let me just check my bank account. Okay. All right. All right. So Connor did a review of thing. By the way, I gotta say I really like this name he's giving me, the ogre, because if you know anything about anime, fucking shit is annoying. He's calling me the goddamn ogre, bro. What a fucking beast. Like, this is the strongest guy in Baki. Oh, no. You called me Yuji Honda. What an insult. Brother. This is why, this is why autistic people shouldn't talk shit. Whenever your title is North the Betrayer versus Gibbs the Ogre, and this is the ogre, brother, you're taking an L. Like, even your insults compliment me, Connor. Like, do you realize this? I don't know if he realizes this. Like, he's so bad. I don't. First of all, why would you ever want to get in a roast off with Papa Gibbs? Like that's a mistake, number one. But let's Let's dive into this. I don't know if we're gonna watch all of it here. We'll watch some of it. Let's do it at 1.5 or to start. Let's hear Connor's high brain takes about Papa Gibbs.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Why can't I hear anything? Now, if you watched my show with him on Primes the other night, I have about 1,000 memes ready to go. And this bitch ran from me like a puto. He like just sat there and he was quiet and subdued and all sorts of shit. Pussy shit. But let's see what happens.
Hope you're doing well. Gonna sign into chat myself. Going to set up the stream. Today should be a fun day. Should be a fun day. I do have my, the kids are back in school, so I'll be picking up my boys early today, since it's Wednesday is an early day. But instead of leaving at 2:30, I'll be leaving at like 1:30 or so. But we should still have plenty of time for fun and for memes since then. One of the things that I saw,
the old smell test,
which I would have watched live, but I was going to bed and I was working on the Counterpoint Star Wars, Counterpoint Sci-Fi content. I was working on that, and I saw that. I saw a couple of things. Number one, I saw Wick doing a debate gauntlet, effectively going from show to show with I think Hutch first.
Well, while he talks, I'm gonna put some pants on.
Over defending the DGG sphere take of not voting for that DSA candidate who is potentially going to win the primary for governor. I think the good news is that the drama has resolved itself in that woman, at least according to what I saw this morning, she actually lost her primary. The moderate won. So this whole, like, we need to strangle the DSA in the crib thing, that discourse is probably still going to go on, but at least for this specific flashpoint, that can be resolved. Now, that tension between the vote blue no matter who, Trump is the real threat, we can allow communists into our tent for now, versus the F the communists, we should not break bread with them at all. You know, as a result, who cares? You know, F them. That whole factional split is probably going to continue, but it might be a little bit less hot, at least temporarily. And then what I would say as well is Quee Man, the drama monger, the man who likes to throw grenades at everybody in the space. He was having a good time. he was having a good time watching Wick debate Hutch and debate Pisco and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of funny. Then, but the thing that we're going to watch today, regardless of popularity, I'm interested in it. Like I said, I was working on sci-fi content, and I see that old boy North is doing a conservative struggle session with Admiral Gibbs, and I was like, man. Gibbs and I didn't even get to fight on Monday.
Well, this is the best part about this. First of all, regardless of popularity. First of all, I put up over 80 viewer average for both streams on Tuesday, which is my slowest night, generally. 80 viewers. We have 26 viewers right now, and I don't know the last time I streamed during the day. I don't even know. Like, you know, so, like, things are fucking popping over here. So, I don't know. Let's just get into it more.
So maybe this would be interesting. And then I clicked on it, and then old man Tiberius de Boisseret. Tiberius, one of my friends from the Mask Off podcast days, like 4 years ago, he was on the panel. So I think he was on the post debate panel. So I think his interest in the topic and his interest in the space has been slightly reinvigorated, which is interesting. Solidus says, yo, it's always fun. Good morning, Solidus. Good to see you, King.
All right, bro. How much
are Myron Gaines hypothetical?
I don't give a shit about
They come into my chat and they're like, I don't hate all Jews. Like, if socialists, they might be misled or deluded, perhaps 2,000 years ago. Yeah. If you want to, like the ATF does have a extra, you can own machine guns, right? Same combat system where whenever you swing your shit.
Brother. We are 30 minutes in. You haven't talked about
JRPG-ish.
Haven't talked about the video yet.
On now, just milking ad revenue, but I don't know if
bro, he's talking about milking ad revenue, and he's milking ad revenue right now.
Necessarily has like a pure content direction. So,
wait, who is he talking about?
That Delta Force game, while being racially spicy, 100%. Rodney Hobbs says, if I think 70% of the populace are arslers and we can't have howitzers, we shouldn't be allowed the privileges we deserve. If we act good for a week, we can have howitzers. Okay. Everybody has a pistol in New York City, because if people were all up in my shit the way that everybody was all up in... My bad.
Brother. 45 minutes in. Still no review yet.
Anyways. The Quiet Duality music video. Maybe the
45 minutes. Up 49 minutes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, it's like an AR pistol without the goofy buffer tube. Yeah. Imagine a 223 round, chop it in half, put it in a pistol. All right. Anyways, you guys ready for content? I'm ready for content. Let's do some content. This is gonna be a very silly day. I can tell. All right.
Oh, here we go.
Hi guys, welcome to Counterpoints. My name's Connor. I'm a science fiction, politics, and philosophy nerd, a Marine Corps law enforcement veteran, and I would argue a real Republican. I'm trying to be a rhino, a Republican who is honest, has integrity, nuance, and objectives, and we have a debate that is relevant to that conversation. We have North, the great betrayer. North, the guy who believes that I was out of line for calling out Destiny's sexual impropriety. And then we got Gibbs, the most annoying Trump sycophant in Twitch and YouTube politics. And apparently, because North is trying to occupy a similar political niche to me of...
Gotta say, huge MAGA sycophant, guys. That's my rep. I like break from Trump all the time. I like have my own takes. I didn't know that Trump was an avid imperialist, but hey, there we go.
The right-wing guy who hates the current Republican Party, Gibbs decided to challenge him on whether or not he was even actually a conservative, and that spawned this debate on the Raging Tomato channel. We're going to be taking a look. We're going to be taking psychic damage. It should be fun. Like the stream, share it with your friends, engage with chat, super chats if you got it, memberships if you got it. My parents still love you. Thank you for being here. Let's go.
Okay, in front of you to expose another liberal plan that DGG and the duplicitous Democratic establishment is trying to pass off as a conservative never Trump. This is a reoccurring theme of these types of people. They try to pass off center-left authoritarians like counterpoints, and people like my opponent here at North is Live as reasonable Republicans, when they are really nothing more than liberal shields with Majora's Mask on. They wouldn't apply this logic to Fetterman and say he's a reasonable Democrat, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. Despite the weeping and gnashing.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. With already
dressing like Colonel Sanders, he's talking like Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
He's a Duck Dynasty warrior.
I just want to say, like, listen, guys, if this is you in a t-shirt going live on camera, like brother, I don't listen, brother. Hold on, let me just zoom in. Let me help you out here, guys. Brother. Listen, see what I'm wearing? This is a casual business attire. You see, let me show you something, Connor. I hope you could. This is a collared shirt. You might want to invest in some, bro. It's called collared shirts. They're very important. It's how you look like you're a business professional. I know you wouldn't know this since you've made all of 2 pennies and your whole career is fucking, I don't know, grifting off of different liberal fucking organizations. But hey, the rest of us who work full-time jobs and work all the time and, you know, actually have made money in their life, this is how you look business professional. This is business casual, brother. And so when you say Colonel Sanders, yeah, I guess I look like Colonel Sanders. I dress like him. I guess anybody from the South talks like Colonel Sanders. I mean, why do you hate Southerners? Why do you hate the salt of the earth? This is that uppity liberal take where they think they're better than you because they sound a certain way. Because I'm not sitting here going to use their pronunciation the right way we would like to. And then I'm sure right here, I hope you watch that and he tries to comment on the slur that I just made right there. But really, it's all in good fun because I'm sitting here trolling the shit out of him. He's over here talking about all this bullshit. Oh, look, you sound like Colonel Sanders. You look like Colonel. Hey, Connor, you sound like a bitch. You look like a bitch. How about that one? You like that?
Wrestling character who talks like Colonel Sanders. It's kind of amazing. You know? No. I do hate this guy. And I do think he ruins every conversation that he's a part of. However, this is kind of funny. I'm gonna go get my my tea refill while he gets his intro in.
These people do about Trump. These people actually have no conservative values and want to push a narrative that somehow they left the Republican Party because of Trump while pushing the narratives of liberals like Destiny. In fact, I know tons of conservatives that go to places like LibCon and celebrate how good of a time it was. Yeah, that's totally something a conservative would do. I could potentially see a conservative going and protesting or challenging their ideas, but that's not what Northia has done. In fact, he's gone a different route. This man has pushed the narrative that America is somehow a liberal nation and that conservative liberalism is akin to conservatism. This is an egregious lie. Conservatism, as it applies to political theory, can be found in Merriam-Webster, a political philosophy based on tradition and social stability, stressing the importance of established hierarchies in institutions such as religion, the family, and class structure, and preferring gradual development to abrupt change. Specifically, such a philosophy calling for reduced taxation, for limited government regulation, or next to no regulation of business, industry, and finance. For
this is Merriam-Webster, by the way. He doesn't like Merriam-Webster already.
Sorry, he's rapid firing stupidity, so I can't even get my
restriction of immigration in institutions. So,
yeah, like what is he objecting
Hold
to?
on. hold on. Like, he rapid fired so much stupidity so quickly, I actually have to, like, I have to break it down.
What is he objecting to here? He's objecting to the definition of conservatism from Merriam-Webster. That's what a conservative does, guys. That's what they do. The conservatives object to the definition from the most universally used dictionary of all time. Like, that's what they do, right? Right? Is that what they do? I'm sorry. I'm just stuck on this. Hold on. Let me pull the YouTube chat up. I don't even know if I've been getting like anything on there. Sorry, YouTube. I'm failing y'all. I just want to throw out there. Like, that's what they do, right? Well, right? There we go. Sorry, it's YouTube. I fail y'all. Hey, welcome in, Trippy Limits. Welcome in, chat. Yeah, they should know. Tacticals, thank you. They should know I'm for Texas first. I literally have the Texas national flag behind me. Well, do you think that Trump would be pro? Like, listen, I'm a Texas nationalist, absolutely. But at the same time, I'm Texas nationalist in the sense, like, hey, prepare for the worst, hope for the best. If America keeps going great, I would love to stay in America. We should conquer the world. But you know, if America ever gets fucking bad, Texas is not ready to go, and I'm ready to be the president of Texas or some major part of Texas. And yeah, so I'm just sitting here listening to this. So, like, yeah, I don't know. Like, this idea that I'm a MAGA diehard is just talking about Connor. This is the thing about Connor. Connor doesn't know his history, right? And if you did know your history, you would know that you should read some Sun Tzu in The Art of War, right? This is maybe the most basic book. You know, if somebody that's supposed to be a Marine Corps or whatever, you would have thought they would have read the Art of War, right? And one of the things they say in The Art of War is what? Is if you know your enemy, you'll win half the battle. If you know yourself, you'll win half the battles. If you know both, then you'll win 100%. Connor doesn't even know my takes, and he's got lots of opinions on them, brother. Lots of opinions. Crazy one. Also, thanks for all the likes on YouTube so far already. Appreciate it.
Anonymous with a 5 says he also ate a bucket of Colonel Sanders after a bucket of Colonel Sanders chicken. Okay. Okay. I sound like I'm flabbergasted by your criticism, but I'm really not. Like, I agree with you. He does look and sound like he just slammed some KFC. So hold up.
Sure. Listen. Favorite ad. There's a lot of good like war books. The Sun Tzu quote just is applicable here. I don't know if you see this, but I have books all behind me. There's books underneath the flag. I got another bookshelf over here. I got 2 more bookshelves in the other room. I read a lot. Right now, I'm going through Goebbels' diaries. I'm reading, and then I have another book that I'm listening to. That's a Warhammer 40K book. It's the last one in one of these series. And then I have another book I'm listening to that I just started, which is an in-depth dive of the Second Punic Wars. Like, I read and I listen to my history and my war shit. Like,
we understand. I hope we understand.
Remember, back to what we're at. Connor's objecting already to a definition I gave, which is the definition of conservatism from Merriam-Webster. Okay, remember this is the guy that says he's conservative.
Understand that there are multiple definitions of conservatism. Now, within the political context, okay, we have social conservatism, fiscal conservatism,
which I just said, by the way,
neoconservatism, Burkean conservatism, national conservatism, and the only reason why Gibbs is able to list the policies that he does is because Reagan was a popular conservative, although weirdly enough, he was a Democrat prior to, he said the Democrat.
Wow, hey, Connor, it's like your sidekick here, except retarded. Because guess what? I fucking distanced myself from Reagan in here, so good job. Once again, this is just like when we talked about corn subsidies last time we reviewed one of his debates, and he's like, oh, subsidy good, it helps farmers, and doesn't look at the fact that it crashed the economy, crashed the ag market because of fucking everything, right? Like, it's so stupid.
He didn't leave the Democratic Party left him. But Reagan was a fusion conservative. He made an alliance between the Christian social conservatives, who actually probably would want heavier taxation, better social programs, et cetera, and then he married them to the fiscal conservatives, who wanted deregulation, lower taxation, and a freer market. And by fusing these philosophies, he argued to Christians who might support more of a welfare state that actually the private charity and public morality were the solution to America's social problems rather than a robust welfare state. But if you look at Trump sycophants in the modern era, They have completely different perspectives on
The sycophants, bro. Yeah, listen, this is crazy. You're a Destiny sycophant.
on welfare, government intervention in the economy, regulation, tariffs, all that shit, because they're national conservatives. And national conservative and Christian nationalism and social conservatism are actually not economic philosophies at all. So once again, if I said this to Gibbs, I would expect it to roll like water off of a fucking duck's ass, and he truly would not address what I just said. So, but let's take some notes real quick. And I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, that's what happened, Connor. How about the fact that you just ignored the Merriam-Webster definition of conservatism, you dumb fuck?
Sorry if I kind of like.
This is the guy that said, I don't know how to use definitions. And then he's over here just making up his own definition because he didn't like the standard definition. Just throwing that out there.
Kill the momentum of the content, but I feel like we need to pay attention to what Gibbs is saying so we can contend with it.
And Merriam-Webster, a political philosophy based on tradition and social stability, stressing the importance of established hierarchies in institutions such as religion, the family, and class structure, and preferring gradual development to abrupt change.
And by the way, that actually captures a substantial amount of it, but Merriam-Webster's definition, let's see if we can just copy that real quick. Merriam-Webster definition, conservatism. According to Merriam-Webster, conservatism is defined as a political belief supporting established institutions and customs and preferring gradual development to sudden change. It also means a desire to preserve an existing situation or ways. Okay, so let's just copy this part of it because I think this is what's relevant. I think this is the most relevant part of it. Okay. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard.
Holy
All
Christ.
right, and then, yeah, let me put it into caps.
Oh, shit, we got a hype train. Woo! Choo-choo! Choo-choo! Woo! Bang, bang! Bang, bang! Woo! Let's go. Thank you so much, Abby. It looks like you gave out 5 subs. Hi, boys. That's right, boys. All the money that goes into these streams is going to be spent on the streams. So thank you so much. He is hating on me like Johnny Ringo, but, you know, I am much more like fucking Doc Holliday. Well, I'll be your Huckleberry. And that's why he sat like a baby back bitch the other night on Prime, because he knew the minute we got into an actual shouting fight on stream live, I would fucking wreck his ass. And he knows that I'm better at roasting, and the only thing he can do is F-slur, N-word, I'm so edgy and cool that slur, because I can't come up with it like for example, I'm going to say something slightly racist. This is just an example, right? But for example, Connor, if you were going to use insult towards an African American individual, it is lowbrow, like lowbrow, to sit here and call him an N-word. You know what you should do? Call him something like, I don't know, a moon cricket. Why is that funny? Because, well, what happens? You can only see them in the dark and they're loud. See, that's witty. That's witty. That's funny, right? You on the other hand, oh, this N-word. Now, I don't advise anybody to be racist. Racist shit is cringe, right? Racism is bad overall. But if you're going to be racist or you're going to be mean to somebody or you're going to talk shit, at least be fucking hilarious. Like, you know what I'm saying? Jesus Christ. This is pathetic.
Sorry for the dead air.
I'm just saying. Like, brother, I'll use when I'm Hispanic, you know, like, don't use the S slur for Hispanics, right? You know, like, there's so many fucking better ones. Be like nacho Americans. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? Well, you know, like, oh, man, they're not illegals. They're the Mexican Olympic team. You know, like, there are better ones. It's just there's way better ones.
Okay, definition. I like that a lot. That falls perfectly in line with Burkean conservatism and probably all the other conservatisms except for fiscal, to be honest. All right. Excuse me.
Specifically, such a philosophy calling for reduced taxation for...
Okay. Reduced taxation.
Limited government.
Limited government.
Regulation or next...
Limited regulation. I think he's about to say free market economics.
To no regulation of business, industry, and finance, for restriction of immigration, for strong
restriction of immigration.
The other thing is, this is the thing he does every time, is he tries to make predictions about me and what I'm going to make, and every time he tries to predict the point that I'm making, I mean, maybe free market he got, because I do believe in free market, he gets wrong.
national defense and for...
Okay. Strong national.
Yeah, I mean, Sarah, I think was tired, and she doesn't really stream on Tuesday, so I don't think she wanted to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Defense.
Individual financial responsibility for personal needs, such as
Individual financial responsibility.
time and income and health coverage, and often including the aims of social conservatism. This man holds next to no conservative positions, and we are here to expose that today. The reasons the Dems and DGG lift people like this up is because they are afraid.
Grassroots survives. As you're raising a pansy of a child, he should be at work. He's at his job right now. His job is called school, Grassroots. Not all of us grew up in a fucking coal mine, you savage.
To engage in actual conversations with people
All right, new plan. I'm not going to that lunch today. We're gonna go to lunch tomorrow.
outside the worldview and want to protect an echo chamber with control.
So we're actually gonna finish this shit. Ha ha ha.
Old opposition. This man went so far as to say, after complaining about the socialists, that he would pick Mamdani over Rubio, an established center-right politician with a history of voting against Trump for president because, shall me check my notes, of potential harm. Ignoring that Mamdani is doxing people, struggling with trash pickup, his grocery store plan is a egregious joke. He had to borrow money from the state to fix his debt, and in fact, millions and billionaires are fleeing to Texas and Florida faster than a hoochie mama goes down on nickel night. This is an outrageous take and utterly proves that the dishonest Dems have no value system. The left likes to act like they are morally correct, the morally correct side, yet they are the ones pushing a culture war with liberal takes like the destruction of traditional family, the war against farmers and ranchers, pushing socialist policies, and wanting America to bend over and spread its cheeks for every country that.
Oh, what did you just send me, Abby?
You know what you should do? Call him something like, I don't know, a moon cricket. Why is that funny? Because, well, what happens? You can only see them in the dark and they're loud. See, that's witty. That's witty. That's funny, right? You on the other hand, oh, this N-word. Now, I don't advise anybody to be racist. Racist shit is cringe, right? Racism is bad overall. But if you're going to be racist or you're going to be mean to somebody or you're going to talk shit, at least be fucking hilarious. Like, you know what I'm saying? Jeez.
Yeah, that's a banger. That's a banger, boys.
Service under the guise of being our ally. I'm sure my opponent will even stoop so low as to push the liberal foreign policy agenda with the Ponzi scheme that USAID, despite the fact that the State Department has absorbed those policies and is determining which ones to continue in America's best interest. We can look to the wonderful changes in South America, where 7 governments have shifted to populist, right-leaning, pro-American governments, as well as at least 1 country in Central America. I look forward to the copium. It's going to be pure copium. And we know, unlike the purest of the pure, that we are about to hear from our opponent in regards to illiberalism, because that's the newest drop from the left when they bitch about MAGA. Is he copes and pushes a vote blue no matter who narrative and agenda and tries to sell the perfidious lie that conservative liberalism is somehow conservatism. If you like or hate what I have to say, you can find me everywhere as Admiral Gibbs. Thank you, Sarah, for hosting this. And thank you, North, for not being a baby back bitch and coming and standing on 10 toes here in front of this audience today. That is all.
Such a character. Thank you so much, Admiral.
Jesus. Grassroots Den says, up until 2015, guns are like cars. They're all really good and all more reliable and effective than required. The enshittification of cars is
So these comments are pretty funny.
Sure.
This guy on the left reminds me
Isn't
of
that
an
because
old
of planned
retired
obsolescence, though?
Confederate general.
I'm open to somebody correcting me.
Do they? Yeah. Thank you so much for the subs, Abby. Thank you so much, guys. You know, we are able to read super chats and stuff today while we're doing this live stream, daytime stream. This is a special edition of the Gibbs Show. We don't ever go live during the day, but we're live now, watching fucking counterpoints make an idiot of himself, proving that he's not a conservative after he just bitched about every debate I've ever had where he doesn't know what that I don't know what a conservative is, and then he bitched about my shit, and now he's over here. Oh, that wasn't a good definition of conservatism.
Isn't that effectively like they want us to buy vehicles the second that they break down, so they kind of design them to break down after 5 or 10 years of moderate use? Somebody correct me.
Gibbs, North, I leave it to you for your opening statement, please.
Hey, I'm North. I am a conservative, and as
Uh-oh. Did we lose him?
Already running.
hello.
No. There you
Hello?
are. You're back. You're back.
Bueller?
Hey, hold on.
Sorry.
Jesus,
I started over
why
every time,
I
started
have
over
no All right, hold on. Yeah, hey, I'm North. I do think I'm conservative. I follow conservative philosophy, and because I'm a conservative, there are certain aspects of the Republican Party that I have to vehemently oppose. Just because I oppose authoritarianism on the right does not mean that I'm not a conservative. In this debate, I'm going to be talking about like the conservative philosophy that I believe in, why I believe in it, and how I express that in the people and policies that I promote. In fact, the only person we're going to be exposing here on this panel is going to be Gibbs for being a fake conservative. And that because I think that it was his politics that has led to the absolute destruction of a principled conservative movement here in the United States. Yep, that's pretty much all I have to say. Thank you for having me on, Sarah.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. And of course, both gentlemen are streaming from their platforms. If you'd like to head on over to Admiral Gibbs or North, both on YouTube or Twitch, you can head on over, like, subscribe, follow, share, and of course, send them all of your money because they are here working for you tonight. We are going to get through our debate. We will move into closing statements. We will read and respond to your kind super chats. And then, of course, we will open up the panel for open panel Q&A. And your favorite part, we'll move into the gauntlet after that, if you're good. Gentlemen,
Well, which is funny that he has more beef with my clothes than anything else, Abby, because, I mean, the guy's dressed like a slob. The guy, listen, I get it. I was divorced. Maybe we can share a body moment. Here, let me help you out here. Let me help you out one divorcee to another, all right? Okay. Counterpoints, brother. You might not like my Colonel Sanders Southern attire, okay? But let me tell you something, brother. Let me just level with you. Buy yourself some polos. They have some good ones. You know, you go to Walmart. They have some nice Walmart Casa Luna or some shit polos. They're very comfortable, very soft. You know, you look like a nice business professional, right? You know, instead, right now, you look like run down. And you know what they say? If you look good, you feel good. Clearly, you don't feel good because you don't look good. You look like a fucking broke bitch. And like, I just gotta say, the idea that you could comment on any of my attire when my wardrobe is worth more than you made last year really says all I need to say. Just say it.
Before we get into
Yes.
this, if you guys, if you're gonna pick between my YouTube and Twitch, pick my Twitch. We're up for partner, so every comment helps. So that's a big one. So thank you so much. Appreciate it. Go ahead.
No problem. Gentlemen, I leave the floor open.
Yeah, Sage, I mean, it's hard to keep track of who does what.
Yeah, so we can start off with your argument from yesterday. I think that's a good starting point since we or the day before. My days all blur together now. Too many concussions. With the idea
Wait,
that
hold on. How about we come to a common understanding about what conservatism is?
well, I already gave a definition, and as we do in most debate, if no one offers up a different definition in their opening when one's given, that definition slides across. So we have to use the definition that given.
Jeb Kush, as I rolled a 12 for psychic damage, I need healing. Somebody spawn some AoE fucking healing spells for Jeb Kush, please.
Which was, if we want to reread it for a moment here, conservatism as it applies to political theory to be found in Merriam-Webster, political philosophy based on tradition, social stability, and stressing the importance of established hierarchies and institutions, such as religion, the family class structure, and preferring gradual development of uptake. Specifically, such philosophy calling for reduced taxation, for limited government, reduced regulation of business, industry, and finance, for restriction of immigration, for strong national defense, for the individual financial responsibility for personal.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you have serious ideas, you want people to take you seriously, show them seriously. You know, and like I did the crazy outfit thing for Destiny's debate, and Phoenix has kind of like, just see what happens. And it did exactly what I thought. Everybody's talking about it. And I've gotten so many lefties message me going, Gibbs, I have a roommate or I have so-and-so, and every time they see you on, they're like, well, what's this Southern dandy saying? Oh, what's the Southern guy saying? Just because of the outfit. So, like, yeah, I mean, you know, there's a reason why I wear, like, the stuff that I wear, and there's a reason why I wear stuff like this. This is like a polo, but it's a pretty loud polo, right? And the reason why I wear it is, you know, I'm a loud personality. My clothes match me. It's good for sales. I do sales during the day. You know, as Average is in my other chat, she's one of the best salespeople I know. She can vouch that, you know, if the best people are excuse me. The best salesmen play to their strengths, right? Like, so I'm not going to be something I'm not. I'm going to be something that I am, and I'm going to, like, go to my strengths, right, in sales, right? Like, my business partner, he's the nice guy, right? I'm a dick, right? If I'm over here, like, on a sales call at 4 a.m. with the UK, you know, I'm going to be a kind of aggressive. But, like, we got an expression in Texas. It's shit or get off the pot. You're wasting my goddamn time. The deal's not getting any sweeter this. Now, if I'm talking to another Texan, you know, I might say that in a different manner, but I'm going to be the same person I am. I'm going to be aggressive. I'll be whatever. Now, the British people, they're kind of cucks, and they're going to fucking just do what you say. If you, like, demand something, they don't want to be rocking the boat. And if they feel like they're wasting your time, they feel like you've given them the best again, they'll do. So, like, you know, you play to your outfits, right? Like, and so it's a strategy, right? Now, what doesn't look good is showing up with a T-shirt that you've worn for 3 days straight, like Connor's wearing now. Just saying.
Income and health coverage, and often including the aims of social conservatism. This is why, when you say things like Mandami, it would be a better pick because of potential harm.
Yeah, I knew Abby
the
would
real
know.
harm he's doing to the city of New York over Rubio, who's a center-left Republican, a neocon, someone that neo-libs had alliance with for decades, and he's voted at one point 67% against Trump, only with Trump, as opposed to other people who are 99%. It is an egregious lie for you to sit here and try to pretend to be a conservative with your takes.
Okay, Gibbs, you're getting a little bit ahead of yourself. All right, I would personally define conservatism as a political philosophy that is designed to preserve and advocate for traditions, institutions, values, and norms, other than like customs and a society. That needs to involve an understanding of why such things exist and an argument for why they are why they should continue to exist. And if we feel that they shouldn't exist, it's an advocate for reasonable and limited reform. See Chesterton's fence. Or if you ever heard the phrase, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, I think that's a general good way to consider conservative reform. So all in all, conservatism is basically the advocacy and understanding of continuity over time. Specifically in America, we have a little bit, because conservatism can be defined, you know, we're not in Saudi Arabia, we are not advocating for some sort of Islamic conservatism, we are advocating for conservatism here in the United States in the 21st century. It more so defines as like Christian values, classical liberalism, individualism, capitalism, republicanism, which also can be expressed in things like
Chesterton's fence wrong.
Pro-life advocacy for patriotism. I would argue supporting neoconservatism, supporting more like neoliberal economic policy. And
Chesterton's.
Well, first of all, you brought up something. You mentioned only 21st century. If we only go back 25 years, I mean, sure, 26 years, sure, almost anything could be conservative then.
Justice fits the principle you should never remove or alter an existing monsters or systems. You first understand the specific reason why it was put there in the first place. Interesting.
Trans drag shows, that could be conservative by that definition. If we want to go back and look at the overall history of America since Spain came over here, now we can start including Aztec conservatism. That was social norm. People back in the day. This is ridiculous. This is not what we're talking about. This is why you can't limit it to just like 21st century.
Hold on.
We have to look at
Hold on. Are you seriously contending with the idea that like if I was to define myself as a conservative, I have to respect the Aztec conservatism of like?
No, but I am saying that for you to try to limit it to 25, 26 years of conservatism and only say the 21st century, that's ridiculous.
Hold on. Pardon me. Time out. I just want to give the nice reminder that we just talked about this backstage about constantly interrupting each other, okay? Because what happens is the audience isn't going to be able to understand either of you, and you're both talking very quickly and very loudly. So add that on top of interrupting each other. We're not going to get anywhere, and then this whole entire conversation can just be thrown down the toilet, okay?
You know what's crazy is there's so many, like, listen, I got, like, my undergrad was a pretty in-depth thing with poli-sci. I feel like I read a lot, and there's always new political theories, and this is obviously not new. I just looked it up. It's like 1929 or something, right? And it's interesting because there'll be some stuff that's been around forever. You're like, oh, what is that? And you read about it, you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, you know, and like you learn, like, I mean, that like, yeah, I've heard that expression. I've never heard referred to as Justice Fitz, but obviously now that I've read it, I'm like, oh, they were always referring to it this way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's interesting.
Back to you. I interrupted North.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. When we're talking about defining conservatism, we are not in the 19th century. We are in the 21st century. We are not in Iran or Saudi Arabia or even Germany. We are in the United States of America. So when we're talking about what is American conservatism, it should be in the proper context of we are in the now here in the United States of America. Like, am I wrong on this, or are we advocating that conservatism can go all the way back to like the 1500s, in which we're going to be defending like the papacy, attacking the reforms of what the fuck do you call it? The Protestant Reformation. Like, we are conservatives of the here and now.
Well, that's ridiculous for a couple of reasons. One, no, I'm not going to sit here and try to defend Aztec conservatism. That's why I wanted to narrow it. However, you're narrowing down to 26 years is utterly ridiculous. One, first of all, I've heard many, many times from many of these fake conservatives about Burkean conservatism, and that's Edmund Burke, an Irishman, right? That's not even an American. Let's talk about American conservatism. I, for one, have advocated many, many times I'm a conservative. One of the things I like is American.
Oh, here we go. There's the trigger.
I hate this guy so much. Okay, so
I would trigger him, brothers. It's too easy. It's too. By the way, I don't know if y'all figured this out. I'm a troll. I like definitely plant what they call hooks in my shit. Abby, once again, WWE fan will know it, is you plant a hook or a seed, and this isn't even the guy you're fighting. Like, I'm fighting North right now, but I knew that counterpoints couldn't resist fucking redoing this shit. I knew it. It's too easy. It's too easy. And you just throw in something like this. Oh, yeah, this is Irish and not even American. And watch, he's going to say something about, hold on, let's see if I can predict better than he can. Ooh. What do you want to bet? I bet he's going to talk about how Burkean conservatism influenced American politics and how we should just acquiesce to this shit because it evolves and this is real concern. Yeah, all right. Just watch.
Edmund Burke is considered the founding philosophical father of conservatism. He was an Irishman by birth, but he was
Knew it. Nailed it. Got it. We're 1 for 1 on predictions in the stream already. That's better than Counterpoints predictions for me already. Nailed it. Already. We already got it. 1 for 1, boys. 1 for 1. All right, I'm going to take a leak while he bitches.
English politician. He was considered one of the greatest rhetoricians of his time. He existed during the French Revolution and the American Revolution. And he actually supported, not the revolution itself. He was a monarchist who was loyal to the English crown. But he supported the general gripes of the colonists, believing that they were justified. And in order to prevent the schism between the United States of America and the English monarchy, their legitimate grievances needed to be addressed in a pragmatic and conservative way, where you didn't just give in to the radicals immediately, but you came up with pragmatic solutions that actually met everybody's needs. And so, literally, Edmund Burke was a supporter of the early American colonist republic and actually wanted redress of grievances with the crown. So,
Wait, hold on.
Admiral Gibbs is kind of ignorant that even Edmund Burke, post-revolution, was kind of a fan of early America.
Hold on. Bro, is he retarded? Is he retarded? Holy Christ! This is the stupidest motherfucker alive. This guy just said, and I quote, with a straight face, he was a monarchist who tried to resolve it with pragmatism. That's not the thought of America, you dumb fuck! Like, this is a man that went against America breaking away from the UK. This is the man that wanted to bring us back in peacefully and keep the high. That's not American. This is why I differentiate with American conservatism versus some fucker who's in a different country and their version. Would a Norway conservative be the same as an American? No, you dumbass. This is the same kind of concept. Just like, holy shit, oh yeah, this is the founding father. He's a rhetorician. Who's the what? Hitler was a rhetorician. What does that have to do with anything? Hitler's a German rhetorician. He's the, like, it's so stupid. This is so stupid. And like, and then this is the best part, is he's like, oh, he's on his high horse. Look how intelligent I am. Let me explain who Edmund Burke is, even though I just explained who Edmund Burke was. Not an American, Irishman. And then, oh, look, he's a British monarchist. But which one of those is pro-America, by the way? Can one of y'all tell me which one of those is a American take? I don't know. It's like,
ignorance is profound.
American imperialism. I'm in the era of James K. Polk, right? I'm going to talk about manifest destiny. This is true conservatism. Andrew Jackson, the founder of the Democratic Party, your party, is a big thing where he, like, guess what? Whooping ass, taking names. I'm talking about whooping ass, taking names over and over again. I can appeal to actual conservative.
Hold up. Did he say simultaneously, I'm a fan of real American conservatism, like Andrew Jackson, the founder of your party? Was that a sentence that was just said?
It was a sentence that was just said.
I'm talking about party, your party, destiny, is American, for one, have advocated many, many times. I'm a conservative. One of the things I like is American imperialism. I'm in the era of James K. Polk, right? I'm going to talk about manifest destiny. This is true conservatism. Andrew Jackson, the founder of the Democratic Party, your party, is a big thing where he, like, guess what? Whooping ass, taking names. I'm talking about whooping ass, taking names over and over again. I can appeal to actual conservative values that have existed in the United States since its founding. When the Tripoli happened, we just talked about the debate I had earlier. They were talking about the Treaty of
Here's Zealot says, do you consider North a real conservative? I'm going to have to hear him expand. I think he's jumped the shark, in my opinion. So, and where he's jumped the shark is saying, I would pick Mamdani over Rubio. I think we just have a schism in belief at this point. I will not, I'm just telling you right now, I'm not supporting a democratic socialist within the United States. I just won't. You can talk about balancing the country. You can talk about the Overton window. You can talk about political effects. You can talk about the muting of their effects through the processes of our republic. Good for you. I'm happy you're a more consequentialist, logical thinker than I am. But that would be like me asking y'all to vote for fucking Nick Fuentes in order to rebalance out the country. I don't think you guys would be capable of voting for a Christian nationalist, even if you knew consequentially it was necessary to achieve some kind of desired result. So, in my opinion, I think that, like, North has been hanging out with the liberals for too long. He's been hanging out with Christian Valeris for too long.
Bro, this is rich. North is the one that's been captured by the liberals after this guy swept for Destiny's bullshit for years. Like, listen, I'm not going to talk about Destiny's alleged shit, right? One, there's no convictions. Like, nothing's been proven. Whatever. If he's a sex pest, so be it. Whatever. Not really any of my business. Okay? What is in my business, though, is whenever these accusations have come up, which are as bad, if not worse, than the accusations against Trump, and then Connor slept for him for decades. And by decades, I mean really like however long he's been on here, so 2 years, whatever. The entire time. Long time. And suddenly, after Destiny gives him the kick, now he's the moral one. Like, so it's ridiculous. And this is what I'm talking about with these leftists like Connor, who pretends to be right. They don't actually have any morals. They, like, pick something like Edmund Burke, who's a fucking monarchist from the, the UK, and you uphold them as a value that we should uphold as Americans. When I'm sitting here, and this is what I'm telling North, when I used Andrew Jackson, I've used an example of a president, and I'm going to keep doing this throughout this debate, where I go, oh, this historical person. I started off with Polk. I keep doing these examples over and over and over again of people in American history that uphold the values I have. This is why I wouldn't let them just limit it to 25, 26 years. Shit, I'm 35. Why would I just let them limit it to 25, 35 years? Oh, that's counterpoints. He is a liberal that pretends to be conservative, and he's the worst person on earth. He's a huge piece of shit. He told me that since I was divorced, this is when he was married, that I deserved to die. He hoped I died of a cocaine overdose. I hoped that any kids I had died, and if I had any kids, and I would never have kids. And so then he got divorced. and then he got kicked out of Destiny's group. And now, sometimes bad things happen to bad people. And I gotta say, it's crazy that you can say all this shit about Papa and then it happens to you. The difference between our divorces, though, is I divorced my ex-wife because she didn't want to be in the public eye, and I always wanted to be in the public eye, and I was moving towards this. And she, on the other hand, wanted to live a private life, and so there were major differences in what we wanted in life, and so we got divorced. Here, on the other hand, she left his ass. Totally different situation. Just want to say.
He's been hanging out with
I just gotta say, I don't usually talk about people's personal business, but on our third debate ever, he decided to go in depth about my shit. Because one, I don't lie about my shit, and even he will tell you, oh, it seems like he's got money. Oh, it seems like he's got this. Average is in my chat right now. She can vouch that she's known me for fucking 16 plus years. She can vouch that I am who I say I am. Like, all this shit right here is like, it's like performative. And so unlike him, I'm not this amorphous thing that's always changing to try to be a clout goblin. I don't give a shit about the clout. I'm sitting here trying to fucking make it. And this guy's over here like, oh, I got Daddy Destiny in my shot. And now he doesn't have Daddy Destiny. Now his personal life's in shambles. And then he's still online giving prescriptions for shit. He was giving online prescriptions about how to be on Tinder and Bumble. And then he was talking about people on there. And bro, it was like you're talking to the bots. You're talking to the prostitutes. You don't even know what the difference between a prostitute and a bot is on Tinder and Bumble. Yeah, trust that guy for dating advice, guys. This guy, brother, maybe take some time off from dating. Figure out your shit, right? I've dated a lot since I got divorced. But, I haven't seriously dated because guess what? I'm trying. If I'm going to date somebody, I'm going to date them seriously, I want it to be an actual potential mate, as opposed to, having some fun with the host, because guess what? I am going to get my dick wet, unlike you who openly is talking about, oh, I'm going to go drink beer and jack off alone. That's rough. I'm sorry to hear that, brother. Right. I'm also not making any prescriptions like, oh, yeah, guys, go out and be a whore. I'm not saying that's good for you. I'm not even saying it. I'm saying I do this thing and it's fun, right, for me. Right? I'm also saying I don't want to wife at this time because yada, yada. All the other shit we just talked about. But it's crazy this guy can go on his high horse and then sit in all this crazy shit and then act like he's some moral guy when the same shit happens to him. And suddenly, oh, we're going to just, not pretend that didn't happen. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Destiny and his orbiters for too long. And so as a result, he's lost his rooting. Now, that's nothing to say about the philosophy.
Listen, here's what I hope. I hope he gets ball cancer, but only in one ball, and it gets removed, so that his outside shows how terrible that he is on the inside. I hope when his outside it matches inside. That's what. Now, I don't want him to have any permanent thing, because you can still do things with one ball, but I think that would be an appropriate sentencing by God for all the terrible things that he spouted upon me and every other person that's ever been divorced or had any relationship issues in the space. Reservoir and I don't agree on anything. Right, but Reservoir has talked many, many times about how awful, awful things he said about people. Right, and it's just suddenly now you want us to feel sympathy for you. I got 2 words for you: get fucked. How about that?
If philosophically he's like, no. I don't believe anything Mamdani believes. I just need.
Also, like I said, back to this debate thing right here specifically, I keep going to historical facts in this argument, right? I got to use many, many historical examples to come up with the idea of what my version of conservatism is. It's not this 26-year-old version. I'm going back to conservatism that's been here since the founding fathers and has continued onward and evolved. Right, it's gradually changed over time to look like something else.
Need to balance out the Overton window, but here are my principled philosophical beliefs. Then maybe I would
still
be
like,
okay, well, that lines up with my understanding of conservatism. But, I think he's been hanging out. I think he's been hanging out with the libs for too long. Well, okay. Alishness. I hate to do this, but it looks like you guys are fighting in chat a little bit about this. I do not condone bad things Food Shops has done. I hope that helps. Well, I appreciate you saying that. But Food Shops, unrepentantly, and I hate to bring this up, but it's just true, and it's a schism in the community, unrepentantly masturbates to drawings of cartoon children. She is a pedophile.
Bro, this watch came with a watch leak changer. Nice.
She sexually communicated with somebody who was under the age of 18 and role-played with said person that they were before adolescent, a child, and then they played.
I gotta admit, the Food Shop stuff is sus. I do agree with Connor on this one. That shit's very sus. You know what? Connor? Here's a take we agree on. Pedos are bad.
Played out sexual scenarios where that person was a child. So, I
want to say this. I only say this about this shit because, Food Shops has openly done a lot of this that he's talking about right now. It's it's different than the Destiny thing where it's like accusations and like even the worst accusation with the Rose shit, like right, like that's like something that like needs to be proved in court. Like, did he even know? Was it like a trap? Like, there's a lot of like accident, like whatever. And this is why you shouldn't talk about people's personal lives. However, food shops, I have witnessed himself say, "I would wrap my body around a 12-year-old." That's crazy shit, bro. Crazy shit.
I don't know why she just got moderated. Why did she get moderated? She doesn't need to be moderated. So my frustration with DGG, my frustration with Destiny, my frustration with the people who have swept with food shops is they just don't acknowledge that she's a fucking pedophile. She's attracted to children. She wants to have sex with children.
Yeah, I mean, and food shops openly tells you this, by the way. Now, I don't think. Now, I'm not going to go so far as say food shops is actively doing these things because I don't know. I'm not the fucking FBI. But they definitely have said some very troubling things about children.
Offending pedophile in that she has never actually had sex with a child, but that doesn't change her proclivity. So I don't hang out with pedophiles. It's just kind of like it's kind of a rule I have. But you do you. You have fun.
Hold on, Connor. You just accused. You did hang out with him, and you did hang out with Destiny, who you accused of the same thing. So what? Wait, what? You hung out with him for years, and you were like talking about how he's your friend, and then you're like, oh, friends hold friends accountable. Well, why weren't you holding him accountable when all this other shit was coming out and you knew about it? Your excuse was we need him for the movement. That was literally what you said. Those are word for word your words.
What happened over there? The Barbary states gave us a hard time. We went over there, beat their ass like it owed us money, and then guess what? They signed the treaty. And Lordy, this is a thing that happens over and over. So I understand why you want to narrow it down to 26 years of limp dick policy with a bunch of pussies. But what I want to do is expand it to the great American idea, the American dream, the idea of conservatism, which is a Christian nation, which is the idea that Trump is putting forth, the idea of the Don Roe doctrine, of the Fortress America, of the greater North America. This is a continuation of Polk's policy. He's even said that he's inspired by Polk. Okay. So when you're saying these things, you're trying to dismiss all American history, and that in and of itself is liberalism, where they like to do revisionist history, like say that the Nazis weren't socialists. It's a very common tactic that y'all do all the time.
To be clear, I am a personal advocate of a neoconservative American foreign policy. I think the United States should be the leader of the free world and should take an active step for exporting American and I would argue you could say classical liberal values around the world using military force. I would argue that while we've had
what the fuck is all this shit he's typing over here? My proposed
Afghanistan, it has been actual successes in places like Iraq or like South Korea. But are you surprised that I'm willing to defend
Iraq was a success?
In terms of nation building, like I would argue that the nation building of Iraq was a success, yes, and I think that was all in. I would argue that the justification for going to Iraq was indeed a failure. That was a lie to the American public that there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. But I would argue that in the weapons of mass destruction being defined as nuclear weapons, there were chemical weapons being produced by Saddam's government. But we're talking about creating a liberal democracy after the American intervention. Yes, our nation building was successful. I'm an advocate of using American military force in order to promote Western values like across the world. I don't know if we necessarily disagree there. I am.
We had the flat Earth debate. Yeah, Craig and them did it. I didn't host it. I just sent people to him. I don't know, guys. I like try to stay away from I had a really bad experience with the flat earthers and the anti-vaxxers doing. Before they all crucify me, I didn't get the jab for whatever, but like some vaccines work. There's a reason smallpox doesn't exist anymore. Right, but I think you can use your intuition to tell when a vaccine's pushed out in less than a year versus most vaccines got 10, 15 years of testing, or at least 2 years, 3 years, right? Or it's built off something that we already know about, right? As opposed to what happened with the COVID. I bet that, but like this is before COVID, long before, and we were arguing about smallpox vaccine, and so yeah, I'm not sitting here talking about. I don't really like to do conspiracy theory shit. I've had some very bad experiences with them and the flat earthers. Literally, I had 3 engineers try to do the math on this thing they put up there one time with them, and they couldn't do the math themselves. So I was like, okay, can we get some engineers? So I got 3 engineers, and none of us could figure out the math. We figured out it was just like a bunch of symbols that they like put together. It was a whole thing. I don't know.
Though, when it comes to what you would call quote unquote imperialism, I don't even know what you define imperialism is. I don't know how you would how do you even.
I have friends that are flat earthers. I just
being as part of like a conservative philosophy and its continuity over time.
It's just it falls apart when you look at the U.S. military, right? I was actually at this event the other day for like one of my friends' like wedding things. And 2 of our friends that are flat earthers, and I was like, hold on, we got a guy that was an artilleryman here, and he could probably vouch for this. The U.S. military, the artillery, there's a formula they teach the artillery that incorporates the curvature of the earth because they fire over certain distance, right? So here's my question. You're telling me that the U.S. military is going to give them a formula that comes up with the results correctly, and there are ways to do this, so that they can somehow preserve the value of this flat earth lie instead of just giving them the more efficient way, which would solve the problem in less time and make us more efficient at killing. That sounds like something the U.S. military would do for sure. You're right.
today, and how that is even like relevant in like today's American politics. Like, what is conservatism to you, Gibbs?
Well, first of all, let's just talk about this. One, let's just go through these point by point. First, you brought up the Bush era and the invasion of Iraq. You know, I could grant maybe he lied to us about why we went there. However, I'm the staunchest Bush defender, and I argue all the time he's been 100% justified now that the Ba'ath Party's gone from Syria, Iraq, and Libya, and then we find out ISIS is completely gone. And now that's been the talking point I make all the time. However, it is insanity to argue that the nation building effort in Iraq has been a success when they have fallen to pan-Arab socialist theocracy with Iran controlling it and their militias controlling up to 60% of the country. This is ridiculous. This is revisionist history at its finest. And even though I want to sit here and say Bush was correct, I won't even go that far. Now let's talk about what he just brought about history.
Oh, here we go. Tell me what I'm wrong without a tape.
Let's see what we can pull out of this train wreck. Anonymous Shatter says the Dunrow doctrine is to wear double-ply diapers. Okay. So let's take a look at this.
Oh.
Conservatism is defined as a political belief supporting established institutions and customs and preferring gradual development to sudden change. Okay, I believe in that 100%. That's literally a Burkean worldview. Reduced taxation. I'm a statist. I'm not.
All right, once again, he said he's a Burkean. By the way, guys, I don't know if y'all remember what my Burkean definition was. Let's just pull up my Burkean definition, guys. Hold on. Oh, wait, I can do it this way. Hold on. Y'all ready for this? Oh, boys, I hope y'all are ready. I'm ready. I'm ready for this. I can't wait to share y'all if y'all missed this one. Ho, 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 ho. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Burkean conservative. That's what he is. This is him. See? We should put his face right there. Maybe I will for the next one. But yeah, what a bitch. This guy talking about Edmund Burke, who he just said was a monarchist. That's famously something that Americans love is monarchy, guys, famously.
I think we need to simplify our personal income taxes to simpler brackets, but overall, particularly for W-2 earners, I think we need to reduce the tax burden of the working class and the middle class because it doesn't make sense anymore. I think that individuals being taxed at like 20% past 50K is fucking insane. $50,000 is not what it used to be. In my opinion, based off of like inflation and cost of cost of goods sold.
Oh, so hey, Sasha. So by the way, so I got a text. Just real quick recap. Sasha's husband. Yeah, listen, this guy talked so much shit about my divorce. He told me I should die. I should never have kids. All sorts of shit. Then he got divorced. Haha, fuck you. I hope you rot in hell, Connor. Enjoy fucking sucking. Enjoy getting controlled by Tinder bots. In fact, guys, I got something for y'all. Y'all want to see something? I found his Tinder and his Bumble. Guys, I actually found them. I want to share them with y'all. Here's his Tinder. What do y'all think? Here's his Bumble. Here, y'all enjoy. All right, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick. I want y'all to read those. Enjoy those photos. I just got off. It's stuck. Yeah, so yeah, y'all enjoy those photos. Put a lot of work into them. All right. All right, boys, we're coming back. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's enough. I hope y'all saw all the wonderful time I took into fucking finding these and the research. I thought I'd share,
Bullshit. $50,000 is probably what was $30,000 in the 1990s, where that was like the established salary that you needed in order to survive as a working class person is probably $50K. Especially with the way
rent is. Oh, yeah, actually, on this one.
So,
you're on YouTube. I thought you were on Twitch.
Young working men and women at 20% past every dollar they earn more than $50,000 is fucking crazy pants.
I can't believe this watch came with a fucking
what I would say is
watch.
We need to increase our effective tax rate, we reduce the amount of tax deductions that you can take, and there has to be like a minimum effective tax rate. So, for instance, like let's say that we tax everything at 33%.
What is he talking about? What does this have to do with any of the points I made so far?
But right now we have a substantial amount of deductions that allow you to reduce your tax burden a shitload. I think there should be a cap to the amount that you can reduce your tax burden. So your 33% tax burden over $500,000, that should be capped at like 25% after all your deductions. And then anyways, I have these brackets up if you want to take a look at my proposed. I just think they make sense and they put more money back in the pockets of working class and middle class families in the United States. So yes, I am for reduced taxation. I'm not for no taxation. limited government is an interesting statement. I am for limited government. I think the government, when it comes to the market,
Should
should
be
really
used-
only step
oh,
in
jump,
during
bro.
market
Yeah, I'll follow
failures.
you on.
However,
On.
we disagree on what limited government means, because I think that in healthcare in particular, you experience a lot of market failures because there's oftentimes no end to the demand of prolonging your life, and there is a very limited supply. So healthcare, physical security like law enforcement and the military, and then I would say public education, being the social education of and economic education of the next generation of Americans, those are things that should be subsidized and promoted by the government, considering that those things are necessary in order to propagate a society that's going to perpetuate itself. When it comes to free market economics, effectively, if there isn't a market failure, then I don't think that we should
this
be
guy's got all the
you know,
answers, brothers.
but then again, we disagree because there's externality.
Like, well, but like, what is he talk? What does any of this have to do with my point? Nothing. None of this. Like, we haven't even talked about economics yet. Oh man. It's just crazy. He's not like, none of this has to do with any of the points I made so far. He literally just made, this is what he does every time. He makes predictions about shit I'm going to talk about, and every single time, bro, guys, I almost want to go, you know what, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. I'm going to do it. All right, we're going to do this. I'm going to show y'all something. I'm going to just to prove my point. Okay. Oh, let's just find this here. Oh yeah, this is it. Okay, here we go. Let's just talk about. Bro, I almost did it right on the dot. Here we go.
Why it would be fair to, like, you know.
There you go. Let's explain corn subsidies. All right, so guys, if you've been around my channel for any amount of time, you've heard me talk about how the corn subsidies have crashed the market. Okay, and here's my point. All right, grain is easy on the ground. Okay, there's 3 types of beef in America generally. There's a few others, but the 3 main feed types are corn, grass-fed, grain-fed. Right? Grain's easy on the ground. Okay. The United States started giving out corn subsidies, as well as some other ones like soy, whatever. A lot of farmers switched to corn. Now, this favored giant ag. Unlike farming, ranching is majority owned mom and pops, between 97% and 82%. 15% of that, it depends on how you define corporate. Okay. So what happened is everybody switched to corn from grain. Corn is hard on the ground. It takes about 3 years for things to get back. It sucks the nitrogen up. It does other things. So that's why you have crop rotation. Okay, these are basic things that you know about ag, right? So what happened was when the corn market crashed, all these farmers that switched to corn, they're out of business. So the corn system is out. Well, they can't switch back to grain because it takes a 3-year turnaround on average to get back to being able to grow grain. So now all the people that relied on grain don't have a fucking feed anymore. All the people that rely on corn don't have any feed anymore. That leaves grass-fed, so you have 2/3 of the beef industry now doesn't have the feed that they were normally using. Right? And then when we talk about grass-fed, there's multiple different kinds, right? I have salt grass in my area, right? So there's a reason why you have Saltgrass Steakhouse, because it's named after saltgrass beef. There's other types of grass. But you've just devastated the market. Now, that's been my argument for a while, before I went on Destiny. Let's just see what he says my thing is here. Then we'll come back to this other one.
I don't understand. Wouldn't a legal immigrant labor help family farmers keep their costs more competitive so they'd make more money? Is that the whole reason they hire illegal immigrants?
No, because as a regular farmer, I can't go and afford, a regular rancher, I can't go and afford to pay the fine that a massive corporate loan or.
That's okay. Just Admiral Gibbs is 12.
Here we go.
Because if you're sitting here having to keep keeping that unfair advantage, you're going to have to offset it in some way in the trade deficit and all sorts of other deficits.
Wait, why is it an unfair? Maybe we just have more money to spend.
What, do you have just more money to spend? I mean, let's go back to what I was just talking about, though, real quick. You just asked.
The corn subsidies were making corn more expensive. How?
Oh, here we go.
To farmers on an annual basis within the United
Cattle herds go further down is because other countries have taken over our market.
States. Saying makes sense.
Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Okay, because it doesn't. It's actually really, really, really stupid.
This is take. Remember, this is corn subsidy.
Let's say,
you ready, guys? You ready? Okay, so this is what my take was, right? And he doesn't understand what my corn subsidy take is. Let's just
why would eliminating subsidies
this is
that
it.
increase costs be a good thing? Again, this is where, like, I don't know what to do here. I don't know what to do.
Once again, Connor, I know you don't know what to do because you're an idiot.
Because you don't understand what words mean.
Yeah, Connor, I'm the one who doesn't understand. You're right. Let's see what happens, guys.
I would draw a drawing, but I feel like it would be mental abuse to my audience to draw a drawing about how subsidies work.
It's something, boys. Yeah,
I think I have to draw a Gibbs drawing.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see the
I'll make it really, really, really fast.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'll make this fast. This is in case like
remember what my argument was now, okay?
Any conservative or conservatarian thinks that anything that Admiral Gibbs is saying makes sense. Okay, because it doesn't. It's actually really, really, really stupid. So hold on. Let's say.
All right, guys. Remember what my take was. This is important. Remember what my take was, because this is what he thinks my take is. Okay.
This is the price. Let's say that this is the price without subsidy.
Also, guys, remember this is basically, from what I understand, was a mall cop in the military, and basically a scrub ever since then. He got fired for being a cop. He's never have been able to hold down a real job. He keeps switching from different liberal media organizations pretending to be a conservative. This is the expert ag guy's take on why corn subsidies are good. Okay, after I just said they're bad for the thing. Okay.
Let's say that this is subsidization. Jesus Christ, I can't believe I have to draw this.
Oh, I can't believe it either, brother.
This is just in case because a lot of Admiral Gibbs people, there's like 3 of them, but like 3 Admiral Gibbs people.
This is, by the way, before. Now I'm bigger than him, so go fuck yourself.
We'll say price at market rate, federal subsidy.
I don't know, brother. That's a good question, Trippy.
And then
also, Trippy, I was confused because there's another guy named Trippy, and there's like Trippy Cash, Trippy Lemons. There's Trippy something else.
Price with subsidy. This should be like the most
it should be so
obvious
simple
thing in the world, but somehow it's not. What is wrong with these people?
Yeah, what's wrong? Okay, guys, what is
wrong with?
What did I say? Has he covered any of my take on corn so far with his drawing? Has just ones in chat if he's covered my take, zeros if he's fucking putting up a 0. Okay.
These people. And so the whole point that I'm trying to make here, which is very, very, very simple, is effectively that subsidies reduce prices.
Put the 0 up.
Now you can argue like, oh, well, I don't want my taxes going to subsidies. Like we should only compete within the market. But again, I think you're an idiot.
Yeah, thank you.
Because the truth is that it's almost nothing. It's 1% per year in order to guarantee that we have a strong agricultural market. Why do you give a fuck about 1% of the federal budget going to secure food for people in the United States? Why is that a problem? And the answer is they're going to have this really, really stupid, because I've had this argument before. They're going to have this really, really stupid thing where they're like, well, my industry doesn't get a subsidy. And it's like, well, your industry probably doesn't.
Is that what I said? Is that what I said? Is the my industry doesn't get a subsidy? People in the room with us? Did anybody hear me say that in any of my takes that have been documented? I'm just waiting. God, did you say that? Oh, okay. No, I didn't think so. Yeah, didn't think so.
Need a subsidy. So I'm sorry that I have to draw this. How subsidies work. A subsidy just means like the federal government pays some money in order to reduce the price of something within the market to make it more accessible. That's all that means. Why would corn going up in price be good? What the fuck?
Oh, why would it be good, Connor? Why would it be good? Maybe because you don't artificially inflate a market that shouldn't be artificially inflated. Why don't you and cause people to switch to a different fucking product that should be going? It's called an interconnected food web. That's what happens in ag. All these products have byproducts, just like hemp. Hemp is used for all sorts of shit in Texas. And guess what? Oh, well, it also has weed. It's got other markets. This is not really that revolutionary the concept if you understand agriculture at all. But since you don't seem to understand agriculture and you have these big brain takes, none of what you just said covers my take on corn subsidies being bad. None of it. Okay.
What the fuck is this guy on about?
Yeah. Right. So that was my take. All right. Just real
If you
quick.
know anything about ranching, then 97% of the United States ranches are family owned.
All right. Also, this is not dishonesty. So that was what he predicted my shit was going to say, right? And this, we're going to go back to the other video. But this is how dishonesty is. Watch. He's not going to accept that I didn't say any of that and move on. He's just going to be
That's very important to this. And when I look, well, there's a small percentage, maybe the top 5%, that have most of the base for this production. And those people are all feeding unfairly by using illegal immigration labor. And then whenever they get busted, they just use, oh, pay the fine and don't care. And with this bust, it's basically help the mom and pop.
DEI.
Negative, which is like the illegal immigrants working.
All right, well, that's fine. So you get the idea. This guy doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Also, none of what we've been talking about in this other debate has anything to do with any of what the fuck he's talking about. What is this? This is his progressive tax plan. What does that have to do with any? We haven't even talked about economics yet in my debate with North. And he's over here drawing up a whole fucking Microsoft. Also, why is he using Microsoft Paint? And he's over here going through all this shit. None of that has to do with anything that I brought up so far, okay?
For instance, let's say that, let's just use greenhouse gases as an example. Let's say that all the lefties are correct, and that the
What does greenhouse gas have to do with any of this?
Because of result of the consumption of carbon-based energy solutions. Then that externality should be calculated.
I gotta get his
the
weed
market
dealer's
price of petroleum and natural gas. And
he is smoking the good shit.
They should say, hey, oil companies, energy companies, we love that you make tens of billions of dollars per year or hundreds of billions of dollars per year, but the externalities need to be calculated in. Therefore, we need you to subsidize direct carbon capture, or we need you to
probably XL too complex. That's fucking funny.
We need you to subsidize fission or fusion reaction, or we need you to pay taxes so we subsidize, fusion development and sodium battery development and all that kind of bullshit. That's the kind of stuff that the government needs to do. It needs to look at the long game. Restriction of immigration, abso-fucking-lutely. I don't care how many people come to this country on an annual basis as long as it doesn't totally fuck up the social fabric, but every single person who comes in the United States should be vetted. Should be vetted by an American official.
Wow, what a revolutionary 90s Democrat take.
But every single person who comes in this country should be vetted.
So revolutionary.
And that's like something that is so obvious to me. I don't even know why lefties bother fighting me on it. It's silly pants to me. Strong national defense. I think you guys know me. I fucking love murder robots. Individual financial responsibility is a mixed bag for me. And the reason why it's a mixed bag for me is because I do think that you have to play the game with the cards that you are dealt, and waiting on Bernie Sanders to be your socialist messiah in order to save you from being a wage slave at Walmart is a very silly way to spend your life. You do need to figure it the fuck out, right? But I also think that the working class and the middle class of America right now is kind of getting fucked. And they're kind of getting fucked hard. And we need a rebalancing of what the American dream is. And that needs to be properly negotiated between the working class and middle class of America and the bosses. Because right now, it feels like the way that the American working class is being treated is they're expected to graduate high school, go into some level of debt for either a tech school, vocational school, community college, or get a bachelor's degree. Then they're expected to work their dicks off for like 20 to 30 years, not making enough money to retire. And then they're expected to just fucking...
We haven't even got to economics. He's on a rant about shit that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about.
American working class.
Like, this is what I'm talking about. This is not bullshit.
Then, with the war on families, I think you guys have noticed that I idealize the American family, like men and women staying together.
Yeah, how'd that work out for you, Connor? After all that shit you talked to me.
On an individual basis, I have failed that. I failed to
satisfy
my wife, not physically.
Yeah,
but
apparently.
My wife's needs.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, guys. Let me tell you something. And I want y'all to look me in the eye when I say this, okay? And there's a few people in this chat that know me pretty well. I literally, if you don't know this, I have in my bedroom, I have wooden sex stocks, like hanging from the ceiling. I have tons of toy. I'm a sexual deviant. Not once have my relationships ended because of the sex. I'll tell you that. The other thing is, in fact, most of my relationships have continued on well past the point of time they should have, because the sex was good. And so even my ex-wife, she won't even try to attempt to tell you the sex was good. She knows that I was breaking that bitch down. So the idea that we're sitting here, listen, there's a reason why your girl already has a new man. Right? There's a reason why you're so obsessed and you're over here bitching about Tinder and Bumble. Like, even after I got divorced, I had a bitch named Molly in here. She ended up being schizophrenic, but she was hot as fuck. Like, bro, we're not the same, Connor. Like, you just stop talking about this shit. You make yourself look way worse. Like, the difference between you and me is I own what I am. You don't own what you are. You're a chameleon. You're always changing what you are. And it's sad, it's pathetic, and it looks really, really bad.
The best thing. Now, I got excuses. I think women are fucking crazy, and I think it's almost impossible to satisfy a woman's emotional needs. But I think you should still try, right? You should still try. And there's a lot of good women out there. And you should have kids, and you should raise your kids, and you should love your kids, and you should try to love your woman. So the ideal of an American family is still something that I believe in, even if I have individually failed.
Wow, revolutionary.
So why the fuck? I'm going to start taking badges. I'm going to start taking badges.
Wow, these are
why
just...
the fuck is Owlishness being moderated, and why the fuck is Officer Nasty being moderated? Owlishness. They shouldn't take the long way of moderating, not the short way. Weird, you seem to completely understand that, but not food shops seeking out CSAM. Owlishness, I learned from your guest. Why is he being moderated? Stop. The only things that should be moderated, in my opinion, are rude, shitty things to me that are not like criticisms of like, hey, Connor, I think you're wrong on this. Fuck you for that. Blah, 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 blah. Like Nameless Henchman and Fatsimo are kind of the line. Fatsimo is the line on the right wing, and who is it? Nameless Henchman is the line on the left wing. Sometimes they're rude as shit, right? And they can catch a timeout. If they're rude beyond those two people, then I expect moderation. But if it's just a fucking conversation in chat about how Food Shops is a fucking pedophile, which is true. That's literally a position that I endorse. She is a fucking pedophile, and I do not understand why she's tolerated within the Twitch and YouTube political space, besides Destiny wanting somebody to constantly defend him from criticism. That's a position I hold. So if somebody is saying that in chat, why the fuck is that getting moderated? And also, Owlishness should not be getting fucking moderated for defending herself either. Okay? He told someone to kill themselves. Oh, okay. Well, Officer Nasty, no offense. That's on you. That's on you. Listen, I understand a lot of people are coming at you fucking sideways. A lot of people are coming at you fucking crazy. And obviously, I've told people to fucking KYS before.
Yeah, you told me that, Connor.
But, yeah, KYS is obviously TOS. So if you get moderated on that, that is kind of on you. Grassroots says, talk to me privately about why cars suck ass now, and I'll make your life miserable for several days. Okay, perfect. Looking forward to it. All right. So anyways, I love you guys. KYS is TOS. So don't use KYS. All right. Anyways, moving on.
Well, I don't know what's more American than manifest fucking destiny. That is America at its finest. You know why I brought up Polk? Because he went down to Mexico, he fucking tricked them into fucking attacks to Texas, or renegotiated the border, being the Rio Grande, and they whooped their ass, and he took their land, and then he paid them dog shit for it. And you know what? He said, you're going to like it, or we're going to come down there and take the rest of it. And guess what? We can look at this Hawaii. Hawaii got their ass whipped. It came ours. We can look at all these. You want to compare that today? What has Trump done? He's gone in there to Venezuela, said, nope, you're doing what we say. He's gone in there to Panama, said, hey, if you don't do what we want, we're taking the fucking canal back. Hey, Greenland, that should be part of us. Otherwise, you're going to let these Russians be able to control the North Atlantic Passage and the Arctic passages. Guess what? Are we going to buy that, or we're going to take it? They sent 7 soldiers, and we laughed at him over there to guard that. Maybe it was 12. I don't know. It was less than 20, and it was basically a hollow gesture because they can't even get 2 boats out of the harbor to defend themselves. Look at the UK, and look how that empire's fallen. So when you sit here and talk about this not being a...
Oh, that's true.
And this is why this is dumb as fuck.
Oh, here we go.
Threaten NATO, our strongest military alliance, in order to bully Greenland. Do we own Greenland? Did we buy it? Has anything fucking changed? Or did we just disrupt our alliances for no goddamn reason? In reference to Venezuela, I'm happy that we kidnapped Maduro and we didn't suffer any casualties and all that kind of bullshit, and maybe they're more willing to abide by the embargo and all that kind of shit. But have we actually eliminated a petro-narco state in South America? Or did we just align their leadership more for energy policy?
Oh, you got
Pretending
Taco.
that we did anything in reference to Venezuela besides maybe like yank their fucking leash is crazy pants. Then with the Panama Canal, nothing happened there either.
But there's a
freak the fuck out, talk shit to Panama for like a couple of weeks. Then he forgot that Panama existed. So all we did was we strained our geopolitical.
Well, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Once again, we're going to cover this in the debate.
Like the mirage of Trumpism versus what is actually done is what is so fucking silly.
The
and then
mirage.
On top of that, having this motherfucker call me not a Republican. Meanwhile, Lincoln, I think the founder of the fucking party, was against the Mexican-American War on moral grounds, not because he didn't believe in American power, but because he thought that we started the war under false pretenses in order to annex the southwest of the United States. It's fucking hilarious. This motherfucker is accusing North of being ignorant of American political history. Meanwhile, this guy endorsed one of the primary Democrats. Who? Okay, was Andrew Jackson a Democrat?
Yeah, he absolutely was. I even said that. Did I even say that? Did I even say that?
So
I said
what's
that.
What's hilarious about him accusing North of being historically illiterate is in this very speech.
I said this.
North of being historically illiterate. He shit-talked the founder of the Republican Party, and he embraced and endorsed the founder of the Democratic Party. That is crazy pants.
No, Connor.
Right,
that's...
Officer Nasty says, okay, clarifying mods tell me to end myself regularly and talk about me being raped, but I say it take the long way, not the short way, and that's bad. Okay. Can everybody play fucking nice? Play goddamn nice. Play nice or I'm turning the stream around. Okay? Play fucking nice. Keep your hands to yourself.
Hold on, let me mute.
Anyways, I'm going to go get some water. I'll be right back.
American. We could talk about how this is the epitome of the American, is conquering shit, taking power, and getting stuff. Just look at the Spanish-American War. Theodore Roosevelt, he went to the same thing. The Aggies, I'm an Aggie. Guess what? They founded the Rough Riders, and they went in there and whooped that ass. Guess what? You like rum and cola? That's why we have rum and cola, because they went over to fucking Cuba, and they beat that ass, and they got rum, and they put cola together. This is America in the epitome. Capitalism and ass whippings.
Gibbs, I don't know how much you know about American history, but we have gone through periods
At
of
both degrees,
what
so
we call like pro-colonial versus like anti-colonial times throughout the rest of the United States history. You can see that Manifest Destiny was like a part of the early part of America, and I would probably agree with you on that. But to like conflate that with like colonialism of the,
see, and this is what he does. This is a guy. All right, once again, Connor, I hope you fucking watch this. This is your autism. I don't know if you listened to what I said. I pointed out what I'm doing by pointing out, and this is a debate tactic. Maybe you should take notes because you're really bad at debate. And this is why I keep getting called up to go to bigger shows and nobody wants you on anything anymore. What I'm doing is when I bring up Andrew Jackson, who is the founder of the Democratic Party, I am showing that a value, which is ass whippings, which is Manifest Destiny, and I mentioned Polk and I mentioned many others throughout this debate. I mentioned that this is the Manifest Destiny, the imperialism, all these things are values that have been part of America since the founding. I know that that's confusing to you. I'm not endorsing Andrew Jackson overall. I am endorsing the concept of Manifest Destiny and the concept of American militarism. But I know that's too hard of a concept for you to understand and separate out from. Oh, I said Democrat, and now you're just hyper-focused because you're an autist and can't get past it. Like, I get that you're confused, and I get that you don't understand nuance, and that's why you have to hyper-focus. So let's maybe just, examine that. I don't know if he crashed out because he got no donations on stream. But, yeah. So, this is called an impromptu debate. Listen, he's my bitch, Trippy. We were on a show on Monday, and he just sat there like a good little boy and like quiet. I had about 600 memes ready to go after we talked shit to each other all day in the back chat. The guy doesn't want the hands. He knows who Daddy is, right? Like he knows that the best thing he can do is slur while I'm coming up with like actual insults, like quickly, right? We got you know what I'm saying? Like it's not even fair.
19th century, early 20th century, and then also try to say that like there's been a continuity of Manifest Destiny and colonialism all the way until the 21st century. I think it's completely.
Thank you. North at least understands what I'm saying. Like North is clearly more intelligent than counterpoints, right? Because North is like, okay, you're showing that there is and he's trying to avoid this because I'm showing that there's a clear line, delineation of like this policy going forward. Counterpoints doesn't seem to grasp this big brain concept, which is really not that big brain. It's very simple. If you know anything about America, this is kind of our always thing. Even now, whenever we switch to neo-colonialism, right? It's like that's what it is. It's neo-colonialism.
Imperialism as America coming
it's still a continuation.
Annexing it into the American Empire or whatever. Like that's not a actual. I would argue that's not even like a proper definition of imperialism. Nor have you given any justification of why that is inherently conservative. Besides the fact that we quote unquote did it in the past. I mean, we did slavery in the past. I wouldn't argue that slavery should be a part of the American conservative political philosophy of today either. I think that we discriminated against like African Americans. We had like the Chinese Exclusion Act in the past. I don't think that is necessarily relevant, nor should be part of our conservative philosophical position of today either. Just because something was part of American history doesn't mean that you always have to define it, nor does it mean you have to go to the future. And in fact, I would argue that you appealing to some sort of like imaginary American past in which we need to.
Okay, this is the thing that keep getting me. You kept saying it's imaginary when I'm giving specific.
Conservative position, because conservative means like it's a continuity of something that existed in the past that we preserve to today, and our goal is to like reform it or preserve it in order for it to be benefiting our future children. Instead, what your goal is to destroy American institutions, destroy our Constitution, in order to go back to some some like weird idealist past of like America being conquering everything. It's completely ridiculous. It is unconservative.
Well, first of all, let's just go through and see what the definition of imperialism. This is from Encyclopedia Britannica. Imperialism is a state policy, practice, or advocacy of extending power and dominion, especially by direct territorial acquisition or gaining political and economic control of areas. All right, so let's just go through what's happened recently. How about going into Venezuela and we exerted direct military force and we gained political and economic control over that? How about going in there and putting the pressure on Panama where we gained economic political control over that? How about the TRIPS corridor, the Strait of Malacca Defensive Agreement? These are direct military control and economic political.
Once again, I want to point out something here. Every time this happens, what happens is I go through and I give exact specific examples. I don't know if y'all notice this, and I show a trend over and over and over going. and they just deny it. They just like, that didn't happen.
Circumstance where we extend this. Now, I know that North here wants to pretend like the neoliberal world order where America spread its cheeks for these allies that don't want to pay a dime, that the British Navy doesn't even have a Navy anymore, and he wants to pretend that's somehow defending an institution. That's not even defending the neo-lib institution, because guess what? Like I said, the British doesn't even have a Navy. They've got 2 boats that crashed them together. Sir Francis Drake would be so proud. It's amazing. I'm sitting here looking at what America is. We could go and give specific examples of where we gained land through either conquest or territorial purchase, and North sits here and he wants to go, nah, that doesn't count. It's crazy. I know. I want to address your other point. Your other point was institutions. What's crazy is, once again, you've lifted up this modern liberal value set as institutions we should behold. You're absolutely right that I want to go back to these other things. And you notice my opponent keeps saying go back. You know why I'm saying go back? Because that's what conservatives do. We want to go back to tradition. We want to go back to what America was, not this bullshit that started all the way back with FDR, where he destroyed the American economy, extended the Great Depression. I want to go back to America being a nation where the American dream is achievable. I want to go back to where economic gain is achievable through conquest, through the power that Americans exert, and through American manufacturing. This guy wants to preserve the service economy. It's outrageous that he's sitting here saying these things, and then he can defend Mandami and not defend Rubio. Crazy word.
Gibbs, you just admitted that you're not a conservative. You just admitted that you want to go back to
What
some
about
imaginary past. You
going
want to
back.
preserve
Hold on,
the
Gibbs.
Constitution and the
Hold on,
Constitution and what we have today. Your goal is to take away what we consider America of today, and you're appealing to some sort of imaginary past and go back towards that past. You are a reactionary. You are not a conservative. And this is what the problem is with all of these people that are currently within the Republican Party today. They see an imaginary past. They want to go back to only if we got rid of all the brown people, only if we were to I don't know, institute some sort of weird imperialism bullshit. By the way, you want to go talk about the Donald Trump Don Roe foreign policy? What the fuck is happening with Iran right now? We're completely failing as a country.
Based.
And I would argue, you say based?
Yeah, what we're doing is based. It's beautiful policy.
No, we're absolutely failing in Iran, and I don't know how in the world you could ever defend anything like that.
I'll wait for you. Well, okay, well, I'll defend it easily. Trump, once again, has been saying he was going to invade since 1988. If they fucked around with this, fuck around and find out. There's nothing more American than fuck around and find out. I'm just saying, this is the thing he's doing. Once again, he wants to frame this as go back to some imaginary past. All the things that I have mentioned are verifiable historically, right? Once again, we can talk about the Louisiana Purchase. We can talk about the purchase from Russia. We can talk about the invasion of Cuba. We can talk about the Mexican-American War. Hell, we can talk about the Civil War, where the North came down and whooped the South's ass and said, just stay in here. Now, I know the Democrats like to frame this as a bad thing, where we use...
I'm so happy it was North and not me, because Trump wrote an op-ed in 1988 about how we should take Karg Island in order to show Iran what's what.
It was not an op-ed. It was an interview. Thank you.
Iran war is based, despite the fact that we launched an air campaign, decapitated their government, didn't have a plan for reestablishing like a new state using Iranian revolutionaries in order to do so, and then as a result, the Iranians have used asymmetric warfare in order to seize the Strait of Hormuz, and they are strangling the international economy. Oil has gone up by 30%, 40%.
Yeah. What else has happened? They also, guess what? Check this out. Are buying oil from us. So yeah, we're just gonna gloss over that point. Of course.
Back down when the war was supposedly over, and then peak back up whenever the war was going on. And then not just that, this has knock-on effects for costs of all consumer goods because we're using petroleum in a shitload of our consumer goods. He is truly, like some of the things that are stated are some of the most amazingly ignorant things I've ever heard in my entire life. Oh.
Use our power and our military power to ensure our economic superiority. But this is the facts. You said you're saying that, oh, I'm being reactionary. No, sir. I am being conservative. You are pushing a fake revisionist history where you ignore all these things that I've said and say these are imaginary. Everything I've said is verifiable historical fact. Can you tell me that manifest destiny wasn't a thing? No, absolutely you can't, because it was.
No, you endorsed Andrew Jackson, the founder of the Democratic Party, as a fucking American military expansionist. So clearly, if the left wing and the right wing are the wings of the same bird, and American expansionism, both in a military and diplomatic sense, have happened under both parties, then this isn't the variable that delineates liberals. Like,
so this is something interesting. Connor here has done something right here by saying this. He is admitting that both parties have pushed this policy of imperialism. Okay, what he's done now is he has just admitted that my value of imperialism is a traditional American value. Thank you, Connor. Appreciate it.
like Lockheed Liberty.
What a dumbass, bro. He just gives me the dunks every time. The guy is so autistic, and this is what I'm talking about. He's so autistic that he hyper focuses on shit, and he can't listen, brother. You need to take some medication or something because it's rough.
Liberals don't give a shit about projecting American power on the world stage. All right, anyways, I should probably... My first mistake is trying to take Gibbs seriously. That is my first mistake.
Yeah, guys, I want to just say, remember, this is the guy that can't hold down a job. From what I understand, he's got kicked out of being a cop. He was in the military, now he's not. He's gone from liberal media org to liberal media org. You know, he wants to have a show talking about what's good for men. Guys, this is the guy you should take man advice from. He's the one telling us, hey, how to like date on Tinder, how to date on Bumble. This is the man. This guy right here. The guy that can't fucking use an insult without using a slur. That's man. The guy that said using the N-word is based and like anybody that uses it doesn't want to use it as a bitch. That's a man. This is a man, guys. That's a man. Don't listen to the guy that owns multiple businesses. Don't listen to the guy that owns a massive ranch. Don't listen to the guy who's basically streaming as a hobby and that's now taking off and doing better than he is. Don't listen to this guy because, hey, my name's Connor, and somehow my DeVry education is more impressive than all the fucking shit that Gibbs has done in his life. It's not even more impressive than my education. See like that? That's a degree from Texas A&M. Right? You know what we have at Texas A&M? We have the Bush Library. My minor was history, and they have something called certificates. You can get them in political theory, which means they're basically extra minors, but they're not quite, right? And so I have ancient political thought, modern political thought, and Latin American political thought, right? So I'm an expert when it comes to politics and history, right? Not only that, I also have 2 religious doctorates, which I think apply here. You know, you could call me a reverend, don't call me a doctor, because they're not that kind of doctorate. But here's the thing about this, is we can sit here and talk about this. That applies because guess what? We have to look at things through a cultural lens, and religion has played a cultural role throughout the United States. And then we're gonna sit here and talk about this guy. That hey, this guy, he's an expert. I don't know what words mean. He said I can't define conservatism. I use Merriam-Webster, and then he went on a tangent about fucking progressive tax plans.
Repeat it.
Can you tell me the next American war didn't happen? No.
Well, that's the thing, Abby, is their value of their degrees. His credentials aren't even better than mine. His degree is literally a community college. And, like, there's nothing wrong with that, but don't appeal to authority when, like, I actually have degrees higher than you. Like, sorry. Like, now, my doctorates are dog shit. Like, whatever. But there's still something that you don't have.
Did that happen? Absolutely. That's why you have Guantanamo Bay. Everything I point to is a verifiable.
You know, but my undergrad's fantastic. And I was in law school until I got a divorce. And then I dropped out and I fucking went a different route.
Going back to some imaginary path. I'm not even actually. We're trying to go back to where things were actually conservative and the liberals hadn't fucking hijacked the idea of what conservative is by putting liberal bullshit in there. And when I say liberal, I don't mean classical liberal. And I know North wants to try to frame himself as a classical liberal, but that's not what's happening. He doesn't start at a single point that's different than even Destiny would point. And Destiny always tells us he's a center right, center left liberal. So where is your difference? And where are you sitting here saying that you're conservative? Give me something conservative that you think is conservative. Because right now, all you're giving me is payback of bullshit.
Well, based off of Gibbs' his own definition, conservatism is defined as a political belief supporting established institutions and customs and preferring gradual development to sudden change. I root my entire political philosophy on that. I also believe in reduced taxation. Probably not as much as libertarians and ANCAPs, but I still believe in reduced taxation, particularly for the working class and the middle class of America. I do want limited government. I think the government shouldn't be involved in the economy except for market failures. I do believe in free market economy whenever possible. I do want strong restriction of immigration. I do believe in strong national defense. I'm also a neoconservative, meaning that I like projecting American power through soft and hard power overseas. And I think republicanism, mixed economy capitalism, are universal human goods that are okay and should be promoted across the planet. And so I also believe in strong national defense. I'm mixed on individual financial responsibility because I think individual financial responsibility is used as a cudgel to beat the working class and the middle class into submission, when realistically the economy is not currently working for the middle class and working class of America. And I do support American families. So actually, even on Gibbs's own definition, and I think that, you know, North and I align on a substantial amount of stuff. I am 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah, he went to school hard knocks.
I am 8.5.
Hey, DeVry, listen. Once again, I'm not bashing DeVry. I'm just saying, don't compare DeVry to fucking like Texas A&M for quality. Like, don't sit here and say things with authority whenever you got like online community college classes that you could probably just use AI to pass. Listen, you pass them, you get them, that's fine. Like, I'm not bashing y'all. I'm bashing, like, and I encourage everybody to get a degree, whether it's community college or not. That's a good thing. It helps you in life. But, like, don't be like this guy. Don't be counterpoints where you think you're some uppity fucking know-it-all who's so much smarter than everybody. This guy literally comes on and brags about his 136 IQ. Brother, you might have 136 brain cells total. Like, give me a break.
Conservative.
Okay, Liv, again, when you were giving your definition of conservatism, did the term gradual reform pop up in that definition?
Absolutely did. And gradual reform is gradual gain. We're reforming into fucking powerful empire as opposed to this pussy bullshit that the liberals have put onto us post World War II. Thank you for pointing that out for me. That's true.
Would you argue like the abandonment of like the current what we would call like Western liberal world order, which like us and like NATO are like the hegemons of like the world, in favor of like a solely American like hegemonic empire? Do you think that is considered gradual reform?
I would say that is a revert back to what the American ideal and tradition is. All the way back to James Monroe and the Monroe Doctrine. I'm sorry that you don't know history. You asked me a question. You asked me a question. I am answering your question.
No, he's not.
Hold
I
on,
asked
hold
him if it was
on,
gradual
hold on,
report, and
hold
he's going off this whole rant.
Yes, hold on a second. And he can absolutely respond in such a shitty way. And then when he's done responding, you can utilize that moment to say, Gibbs, you didn't answer my fucking question. So let's
Sure.
roll off with that concept.
I'm absolutely answering this question. One, I'm pointing out that the liberals have taken control of the Congress. We've seen this, not Congress, of the power of the government for a while. The neo-lib, the neocon alliance has happened since Reagan. This is a failure of the American conservative values. We've seen this time and time again. He's spouting this idea that, oh, what I'm saying is not so. I'm spouting the traditions that have come back from since the founding of this nation. The Don Roe Doctrine is a continuation of the Monroe Doctrine, which is one of the first founding principles of our foreign policy. And you're sitting here, do you have the audacity to sit here and tell me the Monroe Doctrine?
Now I understand the Don Roe Doctrine fucking super chat. My bad, Anonymous Chatter. I didn't get it until now.
Do you have the audacity to sit here and say, oh, it's reactionary to want to go back to traditions that were abused and used against our will by these people in power when people didn't know what's happening? That's what the liberals did. You want to talk about a liberal world order? I don't want a liberal world order. I want an America First world order, which is what we've had for centuries since we've been founded.
Okay. Gibbs, I don't even know if you can define what the Monroe Doctrine is. And if you,
You're gonna make a bet.
I don't know if you even have the intellectual capacity to be able to connect the Monroe Doctrine to the Don Roe Doctrine of today. I would love to see this intellectual exercise, Gibbs.
Oh, absolutely. Well, consider the Monroe Doctrine as a foundational United States foreign policy framework that opposes European intervention.
But they're bitching about my mic being too hot in the chat. I don't think it's that bad. We have to be careful for the Conroe Doctrine. Oh, no, you don't want to fucking... You ever been to Conroe? You don't want to go to Conroe. Nobody... All right, this is a good one, Trippy Lemons. Nobody with an 136 IQ joins the Marine Corps. That's coming from a Marine Corps vet. Listen, actually, so, Trippy, you don't know this. If Shasha's here and listening, she can vouch for this. I don't know if you know this, but pretty much all of our friend group for a while there were Marines. Right, you're never not a Marine if you're a Marine. I won't even try to take that away from Connor. Listen, if you're a Marine, you're always a Marine. You know, that's important, right? Like, and I do appreciate people serving. That's a good thing. However, you know, kind of like you just said, I actually do have a high IQ, and I also got a scholarship after walking on to A&M for wrestling. So, like, why? And then, not only that, I went and trained people at Fort Hood. I think that's an Army base. I believe it's an Army base. Yeah, right back in the day. It's been like 10 years since I've done this, so forgive me. I'm pretty sure it's Army. And we trained them in whatever their hand-to-hand combat was at the time, right? And I was like, whatever their level 2, we were helping them, and we were like guest coaches or whatever for some shit. And it was all sorts of people. Jake Shields was there. There's all sorts of people, right? But like, yeah, we've dealt with Marines all the time. So, like, I'm not bashing it, but like what you're saying right there is 100% true. Nobody with 136 IQ points come to join the Marine. Maybe 136 brain cells. The Marines are the oorah, storm the beach. Fuck them up, guys. They're not though. Let me fucking come up with deep physics. Although, to maybe Connor's credit and maybe your credit, okay? Maybe the Marine Corps is the only branch of the military to balance their budget. So the fucking crayon eaters apparently know maths. So I'll give them credit on that.
Anywhere in the Western Hemisphere, that is something that is established since the founding. Is that the Monroe?
Also, before anybody says stolen dollar, my thing when I made this fucking name when I was 14, and I fucking read the first Star Wars trilogy of the EU. Not the first one, but the big one that got Lucas back into it, which was the Thrawn trilogy. And I wanted to do Grand Admiral Gibbs, but I couldn't. They wouldn't let you fit all that, so it just became Admiral Gibbs. And then I started doing Halo, and it took off. And by this time, it's too late to change the branding. Because guess what? I've been Admiral Gibbs for forever. I even had at least one fight as Admiral Gibbs. One of my other fights was Pain Train Gibbs. Well, not one of my. Most of my fights was Pain Train Gibbs, which I didn't think was gay. I was like, let's just add this together with fucking the Admiral thing. And then so now it took off. If you ever look me up on Google, you can see the history. I don't even talk about it in the Google AI, gain local fan, or whatever. Yada yada. But that's how I got it. No hutch. I'm not stealing valor. Do you know how fucking old you have to be a fucking admiral? All right, so let's continue this.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not even about looking up because I know that's what it is.
I don't think it was since the founding, right? That was a misspeak.
But does he not know when the Monroe Doctrine?
Monroe, 1823. When was James Monroe born? 1758. Close enough.
All right, Connor. I'll give you credit. Thank you for being good faith there. All right, appreciate it.
I'll give him 40 years.
I actually have a degree from a presidential library having school with 3 certificates of political theory, a minor in history.
Anonymous Chatter with a 2 says it's a good thing you're cute. Thank you.
and 2 doctors. Now, if I don't have the education, I don't know who does. How many degrees do you have? Doesn't matter. I know it's less. So here's the point that I'm making. When I'm sitting here talking about what the facts are, I'm sitting here quoting the actual history. And here, guess what is a continuation of it? The Don Road Doctrine, where he's securing the American future and preventing foreign powers like China from having control of property in the Panama Canal. Securing a future where China doesn't have control of Venezuela oil, which guess what? That's in the Western Hemisphere, the Southern Western Hemisphere, but in the Western Hemisphere. Guess what? We don't have enemies like the socialist and communists. Oh, that's old Russians and old China and new China pushing these policies in South America, Central America, and where they are against us. And guess what? Since we got rid of USAID, these countries have turned populist right and support the American system. These are continuations of the Monroe Doctrine in its full. The Don Road Doctrine is a continuation and a furtherance of that, because guess what? It is gradual change, just like conservatism is, except now we're going to control all the straits in the world, all the trade routes, because guess what? We have the guts, and they don't, and they can't do shit about it. Say it with me, 11. You know what that number is? That's the amount of super carriers we have. You know how many super carriers the next biggest country has? Zero. Zero. That's why this is conservatism, and you have no answer for history. That's why you want to keep...
Oh, here we go.
Doobie, what Gibbs has done for the past, like, minute, I'm assuming this is what I sound like to the leftist.
This is funny. Literally named after James Monroe. Bro, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this guy wants us to take all his history. Like, I did give him credit for giving me credit for that. Right? And, you know, he was honest there. You know, and like, honestly, hold on. I'm going to do something here. And this might actually give Connor a little bit of credit. If we want to talk about the founding, we can't talk about the Articles of Confederation. We can always talk about the, whatever. When was the Constitution ratified? I don't know. That's off the top of my head. I used to, but I had a headache. 1788. Okay. So we're looking at about 40, 50 years, just like you said, right? This is like, so it's pretty new. It's pretty off the jump. Like, Monroe's one of the first presidents. Here's another one. Check this out. Madison versus Marbury establishes judicial review. You know, why was that? Who, you know, like, right? Y'all remember this? Marbury? 1803, right? This is 1803, right? This is, all right, what, 5 years after we just said this other was so these are all, oh, okay, maybe not. Maybe 15 years, okay? So the point that I'm making here is these are all, like, in this early period, this is early United States, right? These are all key things that happen in this period, right? And you need to look at what the established doctrines are in America, right? These are defining doctrines that are going to push forward in perpetuity. And I'm not talking about being reactionary. I don't want to go all the way back to the Monroe Doctrine, but like the idea, all right, listen, why? Because NATO exists, right? I'm not a huge fan of NATO completely, right? However, but let's just like grant whatever. Okay, NATO are now token our allies, allegedly, right? However, they don't really have that much power in South America and in the North or South America anymore, right? They don't have very much power. So what's interesting here is that if you want to talk about modernizing the Monroe Doctrine, and we want to talk about foreign powers, well, the Cold War occurred, right? What happened during the Cold War? Russia was funding communist revolutionaries all over Central and South America. This is something I don't think even Connor is going to dispute. So China was mainly focused on itself. Well, China has risen while Russia has fallen, right? And the Russian Federation is not the same as what the Soviet Union was. Yes, they're still enemy. Yes, they're still like, and by enemy, I mean they're an adversary. I don't think any of the people there hate us, but they are one of the perennial powers, right? There's points in history that are multipolarity, right? Iran, for example. Iran, because of its geography, is going to always be a country that rises together along with its cultural history throughout, right? There's a reason why you look at, like, Europe. You have countries like France and Spain. You have countries in the Middle East that rise in perpetuity, right? You have countries like Egypt that always rise. You have countries like China that always rise. There's like geography determines this to some extent. Cultural shared history determines this to some extent. But like these are perennial powers. These are like this is the people that when they talk about multipolarity, they're talking about these powers rising, right? So Europe is fallen as an independent enemy that threatens the United States. Sure. Okay. However, what that means is Russia and China took over that. Russia, especially during the Cold War, and funded all this Cold War communism all throughout and populism throughout the South and Central America, right? And now they've fallen off. Well, China's taken over. We see the Belt and Road, and so China had. We'll talk about this later in this debate. China had, guess what, control over these properties in and around the Panama Canal, which is still the BlackRock. Now, whether or not you like BlackRock's a whole different debate. However, it's still an American company. So the point that I'm making here with this is this is a evolution, right? We have gradually changed. Now we have all the super carriers. We didn't know. Originally, this was a bluff. Hold on. I bet this even showed. No, hold on. Let's just do Monroe Doctrine. I bet it's going to say it's a bluff, right? All right. The young United States lacked a strong military in 1823, so the warning relied basically on British naval power for unspurly backing. So basically, it was a bluff, right? Theodore Roosevelt added the policy, claiming the U.S. could act as an international police power in Latin America. So this is a continuation as far back to 1904, so like less than 112 years ago, right? So we have 1823, we have this again in 1904, right? And so this is the point I'm making, is the Don Roe Doctrine is a continuation of a doctrine that has been something that has existed. This is gradual change forward, right, into a modern era. We don't need to guard against European interference. We need to guard now against Russian and Chinese interference in the region. I think this is pretty clear delineation of why I'm going with this, but whatever.
When I say, like, I'm an American imperialist and I'm a neoconservative and I'm okay with projecting American power overseas through soft and hard power, I'm assuming you guys hear what Gibbs is saying when I say that. Because he truly presents like the WWE wrestling version of what I say in the dumbest way possible. And it's kind of amazing to hear, because it makes me ashamed of, like I think I do my American imperialism a little memey, where you guys like know that I would prefer soft power over hard power, and I think that we should be collaborative with indigenous forces, and we should be like sane in our shit, like when we're projecting our hard power and soft power. But truly, I'm assuming you hear what Gibbs has said. Doobie for 10 says, North is way too smug for his level of knowledge, experience, rhetorical skill, and general intelligence, to be honest. That's not going to piss me off, Doobie. Just to explain this on a personal level. North, in my opinion, the reason why I put the title North the Betrayer is because, actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and draw this out real quick.
Doobie, that's funny. Doobie is like, I don't really know where to classify him. I'd probably call him center left authoritarian, right? And I know Doobie's got problems with the snarkers, and they don't trust me or whatever. And I don't have any problem with Doobie. I don't have any problem with Doobie. He hates Destiny. Whatever. I don't have to like Destiny. I disagree with his politics, right? I'm not going to talk about his personal shit, like, because none of it's been convicted. You can show me all the evidence until it's put in a court of law and he's convicted, whatever. That's fine. I'm also not going to try to suck up at me in DGG. And Doobie, I want to give credit to Doobie. Everybody thought that I got me and Prime on Temple. No. I hope that Doobie doesn't mind me saying this, because I act like Doobie has actually always been very, other than on panels, which you do this, like you spice things up. Doobie has been nothing but nice to me, right? And he's the one who got me and Prime on Tim Pool, and so I don't have anything bad to say about Doobie. I know Destiny and them hate Doobie and they don't want to interact with Doobie. Doobie doesn't really interact in my community, but I'm not gonna fucking hate somebody just like Sarah, right? Andrew Wilson and them hate Sarah, and Sarah hates Andrew. Brian Shapiro hates Andrew. Andrew hates Brian. If you don't do me wrong, and actually Connor said this earlier. Maybe there's earlier in the thing. This is maybe another thing we can agree on is if you have people that treat you nice, you don't have to be nice people, right? Like the worst person in the world can treat you nice, and like you show them respect and you treat them well. Like that's fair, right? Like I deal with people as they come to me, right? Like I don't need you to be good to everybody. But if you treat me fair, now there are some exceptions. I have Trippy Lemons here in my YouTube, and I have fucking Abby in here. I don't know Trippy that well, but say we're out at the club and someone talks shit to Sasha, his wife, who's a friend of mine. And he's getting jumped. I'm jumping in. It doesn't matter, right? Like if the people, it didn't matter if I was doing shots at the bar. I'm gonna jump in with him, right? Because he might not be, and I hope we can become good friends one day. But I don't know. But Sasha's my friend, right? You're not gonna fucking jump my homegirl's husband. Fuck all that. And Trippy, if he doesn't know this, you can ask all the girls. They always have me fucking inviting all the people. It's awful. I don't know. Or they have me trying to round up the Marines. You've never seen something crazy like Gibbs go round up all the Marines to get out of here. I'm like, why the fuck would they listen to me? That's their staff sergeant right there from in the military. They might listen to him. They're not listening to me. But somehow, for some reason, they do listen to me. I don't know. I don't know why. Maybe it's because they know that I'm not a bitch. I mean, I don't even know that. For example, I don't know if Jonathan will whip my ass. I'm not really trying to find out. I think I'd probably win, that's because I'm cocky. Maybe not. I'm all beat up, and he's probably less beat up than me. He'd probably beat my ass now. But, that's not really the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is, when we're sitting here, like if a friend of a friend's getting their ass beat, and it's like my crew, I'm gonna jump in. If someone comes up to Abby's husband, I love Abby's husband. He's a super nice guy. Like, you know, this is Abby's one of my oldest friends now at this point. If fucking someone comes to talk shit to him, you know, her and her husband's not around, I'm gonna be like, whoa, you're gonna say that to my face, bro. You're not gonna talk to my homegirl that way, you know. Or if someone talks shit to him, I'm gonna be sneaking up behind the dude, like, you know. But generally, I'm going to deal with people how they deal with me, right? Like, and Doobie's not treating me bad. And I think Doobie's saying this same thing I've been saying about the Dims, is they're very smug and they think they're very intelligent when they don't have the level of experience in history. And I think that you can see the skill diff here, right? I keep coming back to historical facts, and I'm showing how this fact attaches to this. And we're still just on Manifest Destiny. I make other points here in a little bit. And I'm showing how the points that I'm making have been around since the founding and how they're a continuation of that fact. I didn't even make the Theodore Roosevelt point. Right, like, you know, and so like I think that actually it strengthens my argument, and I'm gonna work that in. Actually, I'm gonna steal that shit right now while I'm thinking about it, because I'm gonna forget it later. Put that in my notes for my shit, because, you know, we're always getting better. We're always getting better, boys. Oh. All right, sorry about that, but yeah. So I mean, and like, and I'm not saying this to like threaten or like, but like I'm trying to like anybody. Like, I hope anybody doesn't take this as a threat. Like, listen, I'm all metal now. I don't want to be in any more fights. I told this to Becca last time I was down there. I was like, bro, I need y'all to like pick these dudes and pick good ones, because I don't physically think I can be handling any more fights. Like, I just maybe I could pull Toby Keith. I'm as good at once as I ever was, but like, bro, I'm tired, boss. I'm tired. But the point is, yeah, I don't just start shit for no reason. Connor came at me cattywampus, and you know, yeah, no problem, Shy. I'm glad you joined us. Like I said, I don't fucking do daytime shit. Tonight we're interviewing a political candidate for House 100 seat in Dallas. So check it out. It's gonna be good. So yeah, my point here is like, yeah, like Doobie's treated me fairly, and I think it's funny that Doobie's making a point that I make all the time about how uppity these fucking Yanks are and uppity these liberals are.
North didn't understand the difference between proof and evidence, and that was kind of frustrating to me. So, here is...
Well, let's hear proof and evidence.
Evidence. Let's say we're trying to solve a murder. As a matter of fact, I'll use the murder that I worked as an example. And then let's say that we have proof. Okay? Proof. Hold on. So, I think it's Jose Aguirre IV was the guy who did it. If it's not Jose Aguirre IV, then my apologies. Jose Aguirre IV murdered someone in the parking lot of, I think it was called Rodeo in Lake County, Florida in 2016. Okay? This is an event that actually happened. So, let's do this evidence real quick. Gunshots were heard, and a black Dodge Dart peeled out of the parking lot. Jose Aguirre's...
What does this have to do with anything?
Okay.
Yeah, well, in the Jordan Peterson that says that shit, like, I think it is. He's like, you have to be, you know, to be, you know, whatever, you have to be capable of violence to actually be peaceful.
Jose Aguirre's dad.
Like, okay, once again, I'm sorry, I keep getting on this, but like, I'm just gonna, like, listen. Bro, I get made fun of. People go, oh, Gibbs. I don't know if you can see because it's real bright in here right now, and I don't want to turn my lights on. But you can see. You can literally see the dent. Hold on. Let's see the man here. You can literally see dents on my head where I have dropped elbows, dropped into my face. All of this, if you look at, no, it's the other side. All of this, no, is it this side? Is it backwards? Oh, this is very confusing for me. Sorry, guys. There we go. Let me get my camera in front. All right, there we go. That's much better. You can see the dents where I've taken elbows on each side. See, and they're different spots. There's one right here, and this one's further back. You can see all this eyebrow. All was broken. All of this was shattered, and my nose is still like fucked up because I set it back. I have a big scar you can't see under my chin, right? Like, I've been hit in the face a lot of times. I talk a lot of shit, bro. Like, you know, and I'm not saying I won every fight. You know, I've won more than I lost, but I'm not, you know, and like, I'm not trying to get in no more fights, right? But like, the idea that I'm just some bitch who won't say this shit to your face is crazy. And like, you know, I'm gonna go out on the leg here, and I'm gonna say this about Conor as well. You know, because he's like, he threatened me one time. I'm not afraid of Conor. If we got in person, maybe we'd fight, maybe not. I don't really give a shit. That's not the point. I don't think he's a bitch in regards to like physical fighting. He did serve in the Marines. You know, I'm sure that he got in some brawls. He was a cop. I don't think, you know, maybe he was a mall cop. Even if he's a mall cop, you know what? I don't think it's important like this. I don't, whatever. The point is though, like, the idea that I'm just some baby back pussy that's just like out here saying shit without like the worry that someone's gonna reach across the table and slap me is nothing. Like, bro, say I get my ass beat. Let's just say, bro, like, you can ask Sasha if you don't believe me, Trippy, and I wish Sasha was here to vouch for me in chat. Along with, if I'm getting my ass beat, I'm gonna just sit here and be laughing, like, because I was talking shit. I might, and I'm losing. I'm probably gonna be laughing at you as you're punching me in the face. I'm just gonna until I'm unconscious. Like, I'm gonna piss you off more and more. Like, that's just the personality I am. You know, Abby here in the other chat can tell you the same thing. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of funny to me. Like, I you know what I'm saying? Like, these people, bro, they just don't fucking get get it. Like, I don't know. Like, but what the fuck is Conor talking about right now? You talk about proof versus evidence. Like, okay, there is a difference of proof versus evidence. Let's see. Let's just go down this fucking rabbit hole with it, because this is, once again, this has nothing to do with the debate at hand.
Popped up a gun and threw it in the woods of a rural road.
Also, guys, if you're new to the stream, this is not what we normally do. I'm just doing this because I was told he was reacting to my shit, so Papa Gibbs is gonna react now. And you know, and I also fucking hate this guy. I actually don't do very much drama, and that's part of what that phone call I took that took a while, is about how they were saying I don't do drama. Now, I'm gonna be honest, if I have drama with you, you know, you're gonna know that I have a fucking problem with you. Like, and there's two ways you can handle it. I use Mooncake as an example all the time. Mooncake, I had a problem. And we agreed, just, all right, you don't talk about me and I'll talk about you. And honestly, Mooncake, as far as I know, has respected that. And I respect that. And the only time I bring her up is there's an example like this, how, you know, this is how drama should be settled. If we have a beef, we can just talk about it in the back and just move on. And that's all it takes, right? You know, like, and whatever. And we don't need a fucking public. Now, we did have a public little issue for a while. And then we talked, and we're like, all right, fine. You, fuck me. And then we'll just, like, we'll dip off, right? Conor, on the other hand, is the example. Someone's all over my shit, and now I'm going to run my mouth. Fuck this puto. Right? Like, he's going to know I hate his takes. I think his takes are dumb. I think he's uppity. I think he's a fake conservative. Honestly, I think he's a Nazi because he advocates for eugenics and white power shit and all sorts of other stuff. But, you know, that's neither here nor there for the moment. We're just talking about his stupidity. Let's just continue. I'm already here. There's proof and evidence. There is a difference, but
in Lake
evidence goes towards proof.
Jose Aguirre had a verbal altercation with someone at Rodeo nightclub that night.
Bro, yeah, why does he always use MS Paint? You know, hold on. Before I talk shit about this, I use Notepad and I use Word. Right? I also use PowerPoint. I like all these things. You know, sometimes whatever you're good with. I like Excel. I use Excel for a lot of things. But, you know, I wasn't talking shit about this, but whatever. If this is what he's comfortable using and he can throw up graphics quick and this is what he's familiar with, so be it. In fact, I'll use him as Paint to resize shit. All right, Panelverse, thank you so much.
That they believed the gunshots came from the black Dodge Dart.
Also, panelists, I know that you hate people and people hate you or whatever, but I appreciate you give me a lot of support. So I appreciate it. You know, whether or not we agree in politics is the one thing, but I appreciate the support. Thank you so much.
So this is like, if you wanted proof, you would know that Jose Aguirre, because proof, I mean, shit, I think I need to Google the definition. Sorry for being a pedant, but this is something that really frustrated me in my conversation. Proof, definition. Evidence or information that shows something is true, real, or correct. Okay? So, proof is something that like shows this is true. This thing is true. But you can also have evidence. And I think, let's look up the definition of evidence real quick. Evidence is anything that makes a fact clear or proves that something is true. It serves as a sign, proof, or ground for the belief. In a court setting, it includes data like witness statements, documents, and physical objects used to support a claim. So unfortunately for me, I think that they've used proof and evidence synonymously. But my point is that evidence isn't always proof.
Sure.
Because
you can have evidence of lots of things that don't even be proof, but evidence, you can't have proof without evidence.
It includes data like witness statements, documents, and physical objects used to support a claim. Okay. Oh, proof is a mathematic. Proof is a mathematic term. True. But anyways, the point is that gunshots were heard and a black Dodge Dart peeled out of a parking lot. Jose Aguirre's friend owns the car. That is a factual statement, and it is evidence pointing to the murder. Jose Aguirre's dad chopped up a gun and threw it in the woods on a rural road in Lake County. Jose Aguirre had a verbal altercation with someone at Rodeo nightclub that night. Witness stated that they believe the gunshots came from the black Dodge Dart. Now, none of these things individually are proof that Jose Aguirre IV murdered someone in the parking lot of the Rodeo nightclub in Lake County in 2016. However, cumulatively, you add these pieces of evidence together, and then you also look for additional evidence, and eventually you can get to proving.
I fucking also, guys, I fucking hate doing drama slot. I really do. This shit's not. I also hate doing. I very rarely do react streams. Every once in a while, if it's a big thing, whatever, or if it's somebody like Connor reacting, because Connor's just so easy. He just like posts, he does stuff, and like the corn subsidy thing, which I showed you earlier. He just he'll make up a point that's not my point at all, and then he'll go with it. Like maybe one day Connor will watch one of these, and he'll understand why I keep saying corn subsidy bad. Also, like farming, if y'all know anything about farming, it's much more corporate than ranching. And I guess he's a corporatist, so he probably would like the corporations. I, however, think that it's good to have a healthy middle class. I think it's good to have mom and pop businesses that aren't corporations. I also like corporations because I'm an avid capitalist. However, I think that if we have an industry like ranching, which is 82% to 97% family owned, depending on how you define family owned, versus that's an industry we should protect. But whatever.
In Lake County, Florida, in 2016. So the whole reason why I did this is because North and I beefed in the Destiny drama over whether or not I had evidence or proof. Yeah. And I know I have evidence. And he said, no, you don't. And I'm like, yes, you dumb fuck.
Sure, you have evidence, but you're not a cop. You're not a cop anymore.
And I said, it doesn't need to. It needs to be logically inferable, and then people who can search for additional evidence.
What's up, man? I will grant this to Connor, just because I'm not really a big appeal to authority guy, but he was a Marine. They're never not a Marine. He is a Marine. He is fucking a former cop, even if he didn't keep his job. He probably understands what evidence is, North, my friend. Just say it. I will grant. Now, I do think that he has a problem proving things. He's not. He thinks he's an attorney. He's not. But whatever. I will grant him that he at least understands what evidence is.
Anyways, evidence versus proof.
Oh, yeah. So one of the shows I am planning after this is I'm going to do a debate education show. I'm going to go over tactics where I watch stuff. Fuck, what's the guy that was on there not too long ago on Sarah's? I was talking about how he does a really good thing where he does punching a plastic bag, where he puts out a debate prompt and then you're actually debating a different thing, but the prompt shields you from the debate. That he has one debate he wants to have, and the prompt that he used shields him from that, right? I can't remember who the fuck it was. I could go through my messages, but there's all sorts of tactics, like when to pivot, how to pivot, okay, you planting seeds and hooks. Okay, and remember, this is infotainment, right? Connor makes fun of me because I talk about this being in WWE, but I definitely said shit like the Burkean conservative thing, which I brought up, knowing that even I name dropped Connor and immediately forced North to differentiate himself from Connor. Right there, it's called seeding, it's called hooks. These are tactics, and so I am going to do something like that. And I have a couple people I'm talking to, and so I'm going to have a constructive debate thing. I think I'm going to start maybe I'm going to try to start coaching some people up on the left and right. I got a few people that I'm kind of talking to that I want to maybe train up and see if we can get see whatever. I'm also starting an Ant. You could get in on this as well. I'm forming a new group here. I don't know the name. I don't have all the details yet, but I'm going to grab a group of people, content creators that are somewhat larger, and then we're gonna get smaller ones as well. And our thing, instead of they have the Crucible, they have DGG. I don't know what our name's gonna be, but our thing's gonna be hold on, I have a note here, a potential fucking tagline, just so y'all can kind of get an idea. We are the evolution, right? We are the new meta, right? Kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? These are some things that I'm talking about. We can't use evolution because it's trademark, but you get what I'm saying. We're gonna be our whole theme is that we're the best debaters, whether you're left or right. We're the leaders in our field. So yeah, that's something to look forward to coming up. And it's gonna be because Sarah's got Mater Nation. I've gone through a few reiterations. I think we're going to settle on my group being the Armada. You know, Grid's got whatever he's got. You know, there's like, I think there's a home for some people that are like not DGG, that are not Crucible, that are like, you know, whatever. And I think I'm like trying to gather these people together and like transcend like this shit. Like, because like, you know, for example, with Sarah, she's got baggage with this stuff, you know, and like, you know, I have baggage with Connor, but if you like, we all form a giant group and we have something, we can make this group something that transcends that, you know, and you can have individual beefs, but like Abby's a good example. She's not gonna want to mess with Sarah, but she like likes me and she might be willing to be part of the group and part, you know what I'm saying? Like, so it's something I'm working on. It's a work in progress. You're gonna hear more about it here in the next couple months. But after
Anyways,
the next thing is probably gonna be this debate show thing.
You guys have been shit posting in chat while I've been talking about evidence and proof. So let me go ahead and see what your shit posts are doing. Anonymous Chatter says it's a good thing you're cute for $2. Thank you. Doobie says North is way too smug for his level of knowledge, experience, rhetorical skill, and general intelligence, to be honest. Well, I think that super chat is what inspired this rant, is because I think that North has a decent command of conservative philosophy. I think that if he actually went down the historical narrative alongside Gibbs, he could actually articulate a decent amount of counterexamples for how Gibbs...
So Connor at least knows that I'm fucking whooping his ass. All right, that's good.
Brought up American imperial examples that were done by the Democrats, which is silly as fuck.
Which I
because
brought
the whole
up.
argument...
I brought up one example so far. I don't even know what Polk is off the top of my head. Polk. Democrat Party.
Is that sure. North is a secret liberal and Democrat, so why is Admiral Gibbs here using the Democrats as an example of his version of conservatism?
Well, actually, this actually helps out my point, because these are values the Democrats held, right? These are like the fact that these are part of the these are things that the opposition party held, these values, and these are values that were imparted upon us from the founding. These are traditions. These are institutionalized ideas, like the Monroe Doctrine. That's where I'm going with this, right? These are things like a 90s Democrat is much different than a Democrat today, right? They wanted stronger border. They wanted more, you know, American neo-imperialism, all these things, right? So these are just showing that, like, when I'm doing this with the Democrats being the examples here, what I'm trying to do is, and this is a tactic once again, is I'm using the opposition party having the same values over an extended period of time that established that both sides had this value. This is a value we should uphold. Now, I don't think he understands that because he's autistic and he's hyper-focusing on the fact that I used Democrat once, right? And that's why I used Monroe, who was before the Democrats, you know, as an example. All right, but anyway, I digress.
North and I are disagreeing. Doobie says, Gibbs is an avatar of your ideology without the code of self-righteous patriotism you get when you wrap yourself with a flag and pretend the only bad thing that happens is the bad that happens to you. Oof. Okay. Gibbs is the avatar of your ideology without the code of self-righteous ideological patriotism, nor the intellect that I think is common in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, brother. There's the guy with the 136 IQ that joined the Marines.
Military-industrial complex or the military intelligentsia. So I think Gibbs is my ideology, but stupid. And pretend the only thing that happens is the bad thing that happens to you. I don't think I've ever pretended that. But if you're saying that Gibbs pretends that, sure, I guess. I don't pretend that the only bad things that happen in the world are what happens to America. Like, I would say the Indonesian politicide, that's...
I mean, there are lots of bad things that happen to other people. That's sure, though. I'm not saying they're the only bad thing. I'm saying the only things that I give a shit about are things that affect me directly and my country and my fellow Americans, right? And so we're trying to fucking make sure that we have the best outcome for Americans.
Slaughtered 1 million people was bad. And America helped out with that, and that was bad. Anyways.
I'm saying it's reactionary because you don't know what history really is.
Okay, go ahead, North.
Okay, Admiral Gibbs, note that he didn't answer my question about connecting the Monroe Doctrine to the Monroe Doctrine. He has no, there's no continuity between the two. The Monroe Doctrine.
Sorry, hold on. Nameless henchman, I'm not even going to ban you for this because it's so fucking rude. I'm like not even shocked by it. When I would, quote unquote, I'm assuming you're saying that I'm saying this. When I was a donut jockey, I was involved with a literal, that's right, the square hole murder being pinned on a minority.
I don't even know what that means. I guess they're talking shit to him.
You're a fucking retard, man. Like I get it. You're being funny. You're being shitposty. You're being abrasive about real shit. But Jose Aguirre IV actually did murder someone. And we proved it beyond a reasonable doubt.
Please, Connor,
can we
please not talk about Jose
Aguirre IV?
I just want to get through this, Connor. You're really making this hard. Like, this is an 80. Like, no, I'm just typing this.
An arrest report is offering new details in the shooting, killing a man outside of a Mount Dora bar last week. Police said the prime suspect in the murder case fired the shots that killed Jeremiah Barriner from a moving vehicle. Police took Jose Margarito Aguirre into custody in San Antonio earlier this week. 2 other men are also facing charges. The shooting happened in the early morning hours last Saturday outside Rodeo Country Music Bar. An arrest report said Fernando Castaneda was driving a vehicle in the parking lot carrying the accused shooter. Castaneda had been asked to leave the bar because of an argument. The report said the victim, Barriner, was standing in the parking lot with his girlfriend and brother when they heard someone shouting. They turned to see a vehicle speed by and claimed Aguirre opened fire 4 or 5 times. Documents said Castaneda drove away and failed to report the incident for 3 days. He's now facing a principal to murder charge. Richard Herrera, 24, is accused of filing a false police report. Police records said that Herrera provided the gun used in the shooting and later filed a false burglary report. Police said Aguirre's father ground down the gun to destroy it and prevented it from being used as evidence. Castaneda and Herrera remain behind bars in Lake County. Mount Dora police said the last shooting at the bar happened in February of 2012. The vehicle did come to a stop. But the point is that Mr. Barriner was not even a gangster. He worked at Target. He had kids. He was a civilian. He didn't have a criminal record. He had gangbanger friends. And so, what was it? Mr. Aguirre, the Dodge Dart did come to a stop, by the way. I saw it. I was literally there. I literally fucking held Barriner as he died. So, Jose Aguirre, fucking whatever.
This is honestly, I just about to tell you, this is honestly worse. Yeah, sorry, we're talking shit.
Pulls up in a Dodge Dart, aims a .40 caliber pistol out his side window, does 4, I think it was pop. I think it was 5 shots. He hit Barriner with 4 shots. Weirdly enough, he wasn't aiming at Barriner, he was aiming to a guy to his right. Because he yanked on the pistol a little bit, he still had a really good group, okay? So he hit the wrong guy, but his grouping was really good. And then Barriner fucking fell out, dude. He was alive for probably about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So he hit a random, kind of, the guy he was aiming for, he hit and killed his friend. So he was aiming at a guy, and he fucking hit his friend that was standing a foot to his left, but he hit his friend 4 times out of 5 gunshots. So it was actually like, and it was like 25, it was like probably 15 to 25 yards. It was out of a fucking car window. It was pretty impressive, actually. So anyways, I get it, Nameless Henchman, you're being an abrasive, see you next Tuesday because you think it's funny, but this dude's actually dead. And the guy who killed him is serving a life sentence. So fuck you.
All right,
get rotated, Shock Boy. Okay, you can take some time for that.
Get rotated.
Enjoy your 30 minutes, you fucking piece of shit. Anyways, moving.
Bro, these insults, like, this is the thing. I hate this shit so much. Like, I loved going on roasting shows, right? I used to do roast shows with Modi, and Modi and I, if you ever watch me and Modi stream, we just like cook each other the entire time. And like, I'll be honest, sometimes it's hard to do it any time, but god damn, bro, these are so weak insults, bro. Like, this is why I don't even like. I just like laugh when I'm reading the insults, like when people are talking shit to me, like, and like when I do shows on like left-leaning groups, because they're just really bad. They're just really, really bad.
European empires were not allowed to basically meddle with like the Western Hemisphere and basically have colonies in like the New World. And then the Don Road Doctrine, in quotations, being the idea that like America needs to exert itself as some sort of like imperialist power in which we take over territories in North America. I don't see how that has anything to do with preventing European influence. Like he mentioned that China, like preventing influence in China, but we can you can say that we can prevent China from having influence in the Western Hemisphere without needing to directly take over these other countries. This is completely and utterly retarded. And then another thing that Gibbs was never able to answer is like the gradual thing. He says the Don Road Doctrine is gradual.
This is the thing. I can't decide if he's being purposely obtuse when he says this, or if he actually doesn't understand how I connected him.
It is gradual. There was no definitions about why it is gradual. He is just saying it is because it is. It's circular logic. He has no justification for why the Don Road Doctrine is a part of like conservatism at all. He is just appealing to a reactionary appeal in history, and then hoping that that could be a sufficient argument to like sway you with this really weird bullshit. So.
Yeah, well, what's interesting there is, once again, I'm the one who laid out with the Don Road Doctrine, wasn't the core principles being that, hey, we're not going to, one, we're not going to interfere here, two, this is kind of crazy, we're not going to interfere in Europe. Those are the 2 founding principles of the Monroe Doctrine. Guess what NATO is? Guess what all this other shit is? Interfering in Europe. So when you're saying this reaction, it's crazy that you asked me what the Monroe Doctrine was, then you don't even know what it was. That's cool. Maybe you should read up on something. Well, clearly not, because then you go, oh, I didn't explain how it's a gradual change of that. Well, I explained how the Don Road Doctrine is a gradual change. I gave specific examples of when we took over Panama. We're going in Panama. We're establishing China can't be here. We're going in there to control trade routes so that we can secure our economic future and prevent our enemies. These are gradual changes. I don't know what's more gradual.
Weirdly enough, despite the sidebar. No, dude, shut up about... Okay, everybody stop bitching about chat, okay? You understand that chat rate is one of the things that drives the algorithm, right? So when I only have 2 or 3 chats per minute, then the chat is considered fucking dead. And
this actually is true. Chat rate helps all platforms. I wonder if I can add the Pokemon community game to my YouTube chat. And y'all can play Pokemon like Twitch does.
A correlated drop off in activity, and that spurs me into new content. But when chat is fighting, even if they're fighting about stupid shit, and I got like fucking 50 chats a fucking minute being like, oh, your favorite creator's a pedo. No, your favorite creator's a pedo. You're a bad person. I hate you. You're lying. You suck. All that.
But this is a good point though, right? When I talk about how he's a clout goblin, look what he's saying. He doesn't care what they're talking about. Like now, I pretty heavily police my chat. This is why I'm able to survive on Twitch as a conservative. Like I like bitch at people like, listen, it's not me. You can do whatever. Like it was up to me. You can say whatever you wanted. However, you know, there are lines that we can't cross, you know, in chat, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, because you gotta, like, whatever. There's also, like, I don't want people pushing, like, I don't know, pedo ideology or pushing so-and-so pedo. Like, I don't want accusations just thrown that we don't have proof for, right? You know, like, kind of that, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, but he is over here just like, any cat is good chat. And then he's saying, I'm a sellout, crazy word.
And that might not be the vibes that we necessarily want to cultivate as a community. But do you understand?
Oh, this is a good point, too, actually, about the community cultivation. You don't want to have somebody like Neon's chat, right? Where now people don't want to mess with you because your chat's so toxic that, like, it's just awful for anybody that, like, interacts with you.
Like, spurs the chat rate up, and as a result, we appear more in the algorithm, and as a result, there are more people who are going to join the chat and start throwing elbows and shit. So, no, fuck that. Literally the opposite. No, we need to keep our thoughts to ourselves and stay on topic if we have to talk. No! The opposite. Say whatever unhinged crazy shit you fucking want, as long as it's not terms of service. Jeez.
Oh,
You know,
they're
there's
gradual changes because you
security
call them gradual changes. It doesn't mean that they actually are.
That's fine, Noy. You can say that. But when you say that it's not a gradual change, and I point out how this is what the Monroe Doctrine is, the Monroe Doctrine is a slight change forward, which is, hey, we have these super carriers. Let's just sign security agreements for trade.
All attention is good attention, huh? Tiberius, if you want to talk to grassroots, how about you guys fucking jump in a Discord DM and then you fucking send each other body shots? You know? You guys are allowed to love each other in my chat, but if you love each other so much, why don't you, get a room?
Trade routes to prevent our multipolarity enemies from gaining power. That's the extension and modernization of the Monroe Doctrine with the Monroe Doctrine. Now, you said I didn't answer that. Why don't you explain to me how that's not a gradual change? Because by definition, that is a gradual change. And secondly, you keep talking about, oh, I don't know what the Monroe Doctrine is. Then you keep talking about how we need to support Europe. And guess what? That goes against...
Sorry, I was going to agree with Gibbs real quick. God help me. I think that pointing out that the Monroe Doctrine prohibiting European influence in the Western Hemisphere, and then adding to that in the modern era saying that China and Asian countries that are expanding their power should be similarly reticent to expand their influence in the Americas, is an okay way to say, hey, this is actually a gradual improvement to our foreign relations.
Oh, wow.
Now, I
Wow.
do it in a stupid way, but that's okay. I'm okay with that argumentation.
Against the Monroe Doctrine as well, which is one of our founding foreign policy principles. So why do you hate American foreign policy that was founded? Why do you hate tradition as you say you're conservative?
You can say that I hate tradition, that I hate the founding foreign policy that America has implemented. I don't. I actually think that the Monroe Doctrine is like a good thing, in which I don't like it when foreign empires around the globe are interfering in the Western Hemisphere. The reason why I argue against you saying that it is part of gradual change is because there's something more nuanced that you could do.
Yeah, I mean, there are pros and cons to it, but like, you know, this is all about the streaming. Like, this is something I've been really focusing on is cultivating the community, right? Like, if you don't cultivate a community, you have to control your community. And this is why, like once, guys, by the way, on YouTube, once I hit ad revenue, I'm putting max level on ads. And I'm not going to be asking for subs and super chats and all the shit. That's what I do on Twitch. Like, if you want to sub and you don't want ads, I advise everybody to get Twitch Turbo or sub. But I am going to run the ads maximum, right? Because, or close to maximum, because that's how I make most of my money. And you get to watch for free. And I don't like the grift, especially when I'm trying to push an agenda. And so, like, I think Super Chat is more conducive to debate than some of the stuff on Twitch. So I think YouTube is going to be an area of focus coming up. But on that note, you know, like, it's what you want with your community. You have to build your community a certain way, or you lose control, and you get a community of just like people that want to go and dox people, or people. And like, listen, I don't even get on to think about doxing. Like, I literally said my full information right when I started the stream. My name's Justin Admiral Gibbs, right? Like, you know, like, I'm not hard to find. I'm already a public figure. Like, it's just like, I think you should live like publicly. I think you should just like be honest about what you are and who you are, right? Like, you know, if I might exaggerate for a story, but I generally almost never lie, right? You know, like, oh, if there was 50 people there, I'd be like, oh, 100 people hanging from the rafters, right? But like, you know, it was popping, but you know, not like, and it's like usually because I have a punchline or something. It's not because I'm over here like, brother, we got 1,000 people, there's 50-person event. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not what we're doing. Like, it's different. But you want to make sure your community is what you represent. Like, and what I want my community to represent is I want to be able to have political discourse, and I want to be able to have fun. You know, and I've had to get mad at people that are some of my biggest supporters in my Discord before because they you know, were being too fucking sassy. Like they were being like rude, calling people like names that were just outrageous. And you know, like I'd rather have like a place where we could have political discussions. You can call someone an idiot, but like let's not know today. You know, so you have to police. You have to police.
In which that is arming our allies.
Also, guys, if you're not in the Discord, I'll post it in the YouTube.
And arming certain states and exerting what we call American soft power across the Western Hemisphere to prevent countries like China from being able to interfere with our neighbors and our allies. I think this has been very effective. This has been a policy of the American government since the end of World War II, and I think it should be a continuation all the way through the 21st century as well.
I want to point out that his example of successful American soft power was the Iraqi government. That's a fantastic example.
Not an example.
That is a fantastic example of nation building.
You can continue to put words in my mouth.
These are your words. These are your words. They're not mine.
I said that it was a successful example of neoconservatism.
Oh,
it was
no,
the use
that's
of
not what you
power to build up. Yes, that is exactly.
We can look back at the tape you said, and I quote, a great example of modern nation building. Were your exact words.
I'm gonna say it. People in the VOD right now, go circle back.
Yeah, go ahead. Go circle back. I'm not worried about that.
And it will say exactly what
you did argue the neoconservative point, but you also, your first quote was that it was a.
One of its terms of service very funny. Then we'll time you out. But I'll acknowledge that it's funny.
Great example of modern nation building. Listen, I know I've had a lot of concussions. My memory's not that bad.
True.
What's crazy here, though, is that once again, I have pointed to specific historical examples when we come to foreign policy, and he wants to say these just hand wave these away. I guess the Mexican-American War, where we annexed California, New Mexico, and all these other parts of Texas and Arizona. Hey, that was just that wasn't part of the American Monroe Doctrine. Hey, that wasn't a thing. Didn't happen. He's just ignored. I guess when we voted.
Hold on. The American Monroe Doctrine strictly stated that you don't have foreign empires interfering in like the Western Hemisphere, like North and South America. How was the United States taking territory from Mexico, which was a I think it was a republic at the time, in the North American continent? How in the world does that apply to the Monroe Doctrine?
It's twofold. One, because they were allied with foreign powers that are our enemies at the time. Two, we can sit here and look at another thing that's part of a different American tradition that we've had since our founding. It's called manifest fucking destiny. And when you sit here and say, oh, these things don't exist, I'm talking about not a return to this liberal idea of the 90s.
Gibbs claims to be a conservative, and yet he just said that he's a fan of destiny.
I'm talking about a return to actual American values. You still haven't disputed or proven that
what? What did he just say?
I guess the Mexican-American War, where we annexed California, New Mexico, and all these other parts of Texas and Arizona. Hey, that was just that wasn't part of the American Monroe Doctrine. Hey, that wasn't a thing. Didn't happen. He's just ignored. I guess when we voted. Hold on.
The American Monroe Doctrine strictly stated that you don't have foreign empires interfering in like the Western Hemisphere, like North and South America. How was the United States taking territory from Mexico, which was a I think it was a republic at the time, in the North American continent? How in the world does that apply to the Monroe Doctrine?
It's twofold. One, because they were allied with foreign powers that are our enemies at the time. Two, we can sit here and look at another thing that's part of a different American tradition that we've had since our founding. It's called manifest fucking destiny. And when you sit here and say, oh, these things don't exist, I'm talking about not a return to this liberal idea of the 90s.
Gibbs claims to be a conservative, and yet he just said that he's a fan of destiny.
That's not what I said. Who said that? Did I say? I think he must have misheard me, and then he didn't double check what I said. Like, what? Like, no, Vigilante. What happened was, people told me this. He did this review stream, and he sounded retarded. And I wanted to do some content during the day while I wait for a phone call. And so, I've reviewed Connor's review of my debate with Destiny, and where he made a super fucking retarded of himself when he fucking was talking about the corn subsidies and making up takes. And so we've been going through this and just showing his stupidity point by point. It's been very entertaining. I think my chat here on YouTube has liked it quite a bit. And like, I gotta be honest, on YouTube we're averaging like 8-9 viewers. That doesn't sound that good, but considering I was averaging 2 before, we're moving up, baby. This is the thing. It's all about gradual growth, Vigilante. It's all about gradual growth. So, oh yeah. PC wasn't picking up. Yeah, so I was told that this happened today, and I reviewed the debate that I did with Destiny, where he reviewed it, and he fucking made an idiot of himself talking about my take on corn subsidies. That wasn't my take. And so we've been going point by point through this and just pointing out how he's an idiot. And my audience is seems to have been liking it a lot. They requested this in my Discord, basically. And then on YouTube, I'm averaging like 8 viewers right now, which it doesn't sound like a lot, but considering this is like my 5th or 6th live stream ever on YouTube, pretty good. It's all about gradual growth. You can see trends. Connor's trend is he's crashing on every platform. My trend is even on my baby YouTube page, it's going up. My trend on Twitch, like right now, what do we have right now? 32 viewers. Hey, thank you, Boop. Right now, I'm doing a daytime stream when I never stream during the day. Last night, for my stream with Alish and Glenn. Glenn's not been active in the debate sphere for years. Alish is pretty new, like to like live streaming debates, you know. And I averaged over fucking I averaged over 80 for both debates, like for that debate, and I averaged over 90 for I averaged about 90 for my debate against North, and North is a new streamer, so like all my trends are going up. So like I can't complain. I can't complain. You know, everything's going really good. You know, I'm really happy. Like you know, I'm about to. It looks like I'm getting booked for another thing next month. Now maybe we're gonna be doing something with World War debate. Yeah, well, you know, he also hurt himself because he got compared to real conservatives, and it's just blatantly clear he's not. And North is really struggling with the idea of at least conors at least understands how the Monroe Doctrine leads the Donroe Doctrine. But like, yeah, we'll see. Because I would like to get off. I can't wait till we get off this point because he did this whole thing about like progressive taxes that I didn't we weren't even talking about. We haven't even talked about economics yet in this debate.
You still haven't disputed or proven that anything I have said is not the epitome of conservative. You've just said, oh, I don't like it, thus it's not. Unlike you, I've actually given historical examples. Once again, we can go look at immigration. I've heard you many times bitch about how ICE is doing this. One of the founding things of conservatism is border control and control immigration. Do you have a problem with ICE taking people out of their homes whenever they're sitting here illegally?
Ooh, an almost point. So, I actually have no problems with Immigrations and Customs Enforcement finding, detaining...
No. Apparently, I don't know, Vigilante, this is all in the books. This is like... I've been told, apparently I have a call with him tomorrow at 2 or something. Apparently they want to have me and Grid and Glenn out there, and Grid already lives in Nashville, to host a co-sponsored show on Friday, basically doing the exact same thing, but for World War debate. And so we have to iron out the details. And I basically said, if you pay my travel and get me like, I don't know, a cheap motel, better than a Motel 6, but doesn't have to be that nice, then I would be willing to do it. And that's really all on my end. And then we would have to find the debaters and all this other shit. And now I don't know anybody in World War debate. This is what Grid and Glenn have come to me with. They had just basically asked if I'd be down to do it, yada yada. So we'll see if that happens. I hope it does. It's cool if it doesn't, because I have my border stream with Jake at the end of the month. Next week I'm hosting and moderating the Sean Kelly Social Hour 2 times next week, and I'm a debater of for the 1v10 with your night. I'm one of the 10 on that one. So I'm doing 3 shows with the #1 podcast on Apple next week. You know, and I'll probably just stream like Halo from the hotel or some shit. Maybe I'll see if I can meet up with Barbie and go do an IRL stream or something. You know, and if the thing next month doesn't happen, that's fine, because in October we're doing TwitchCon. You know, that's gonna be big. And then I have the border stream with Jake. I have some other stuff lined up coming up. You know, so like things are looking good over here, right? Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to. And also, and this is not talking shit about World War debate, Vigilante, Andy, but they're doing that Contender Series thing. I'm not. If they want me as anything other than a moderator, they're gonna have to put me on like an actual card, like against a top tier person. Like no offense, but at this point, it's pretty well established. I'm a top tier debater. I'm on the come up. I don't think I need to work my way up from the bottom on their card. I'm just not going to do that. There are other debates I could take. There's other things I could do at this time, right? And it's not a shit talk. Maybe it's too high of an opinion of myself, and I'm not opposed to working my way up from the bottom on something if it's like a big thing and it's all big names or something. But at this point, I've debated and arguably beat Destiny 4 times. Right, I've debated some of the top people. I've been on Tim Pool. You know, I've been flown out to Phoenix for the Destiny debate. I've been, you know, I hosted the GridCon thing. I've done the debate against Gary the Numbers Guy for Sean Kelly. Like over and over again, there are examples of like me being a top tier guy now. I think at this point, you know, I've debated Enrique Tarrio, I've debated other January 6ers, I've debated Dan, I've debated like almost everybody in the space, I've debated Hutch. You know, at this point, you know, I don't feel like I need to work my way up. Now, I'm more than willing to come and do the 4 hours is nothing. I would absolutely go if I was you. God, you should absolutely do that. So like, yeah, if it's like, if they want me to be a host, I'm actually willing to do it. If they want me to be a contestant, sure, but I'm not doing their Contender Series. Like they have to bring me in as a big guy. Like I'm putting up partner numbers on Twitch now, right? Like I said, this is a daytime stream that I never do. We got 35 viewers in here in the active chat, right? You know, like and like on YouTube, where like I barely stream on YouTube. You know, we like this is like I said, my 5th or 6th fucking live stream ever on YouTube, and we're already over 8, like average. I think we've been at 8 average this whole time, right? Like so, you know, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but like I'm like not trying at YouTube. We're not. I don't even think I've got ad revenue yet on YouTube, right? And we're already doing better than like 80% of streamers, which average 3. Right, 3 years. So like everything in my life, TikTok, I gained. I went from 30 followers on a TikTok that I had owned for 2 years and posted like 3 videos on 2 years ago. That I had 30 people on there. Now I have 150 in less than 2 weeks, like 3 weeks, right? Like everything I'm doing is trending upwards. Like you know, I just so I don't. At this point, I'm probably one of the hottest up and comers. You know, so and I'm also the only one that's like independent of the Crucible. I'm not in DGG. I'm not in Hassan. You know, like so at this point, you know, people are coming to me for all sorts of shit, right? Like so. Whatever. But if you have the opportunity to go, I highly advise you going. If you go to any kind of live event, even if you're not there, sure. I mean, listen, y'all are all very good. You're all very good debate. But you know, I'll be honest. Like Parallax came at Alice, and I know Alice Parallax hates it. I've had Alice on 2 of my shows recently. Very nice lady. I like Alice a lot. I've never had a problem. You know, we debate. And Alice got mad at me because, oh, we debated one time. This is months and months ago. And I probably came off as rude. I've already apologized to her. But I was like, oh, I didn't know that. And she's like, oh, you don't know that? And I'm like, well, first of all, I debate a lot of people. And no offense, if it wasn't some like hot and spicy debate, I probably didn't remember. And Parallax is like, yeah, you ran through her. And I don't want to sound like a dick, but like, yeah, I know that I am like you. If you've been watching this or you watched this last night, like this is experience and skill diff, right? Like between what me and North are doing, like they could cope and they could take some photos and clips and say North did well. This was a whooping. This is a unequivocated beating. Like, right, like there is a skill diff. Like this is basically was a practice for me because I hadn't had a one-on-one in about a month. And I was like, nope, we got to, or maybe 3 weeks. And I was like, I got to get a one-on-one in. I need to keep the wheels like turning. Like so, and North did well. Like, don't get me wrong. It was like, this was like, he tried, but he's not there yet, right? You know, like I've been in the trenches. I've only recently started going to conservative spaces and getting people. Like I've been fighting in the lefty circus, forged by fire, for most of my streaming career, and only am now trying to pick up new people, right? And so whenever I say, you're gonna have to bring me on somewhere. And this isn't a bash to anybody doing it. More power to y'all. I feel like at this point it's established I'm a very good moderator. I'm very fair. If you want me to be a host, I'll would absolutely love to do it. I'll be a host and whatever. I also have experience with HCS. You can look all this shit up. I was a very good announcer. You know, but at this point, I beat some of the biggest names. I've been on some of the biggest shows. I'm not starting from square zero, right? And this isn't a bash. Right, you know, what I'm saying makes sense, Vigilante? Am I being unfair when I say it? Because someone asked me why I didn't sign up for it. And I told them this, and they kind of gave me an attitude about it. And I think they thought I was coming at them saying they were scrubs. And it's not that. It's that, you know, and I encourage everybody to do it. I think you should. I think all these people should. But I don't think that's what's best for me now. Like for example, right? Let's just say I go and debate. I'll use Alice because I know Alice won't get mad. I debate Alice, I win, by 90% of metrics. But for whatever reason, DGG is like, fuck Gibbs. They all go in there and vote, and Alice wins. I'm not going to give them a free win because they can vote this out, right? This is why even in my league and this next year, I'm having a judging algorithm now. That's like when we start the Grand Prix up for the next season, I'm going to be able to tell which judges are too biased. Right after the end of this next season. So by season 3, if you're a biased judge that you never pick a certain way, you're gonna be done. Like you're not gonna be being used very often, right? If you're now I'm not using for lower level or something or debates where it's like 2 of the same side or something. However, and this is why in my algorithm I rank it. And then also this season I'm debuting a rubric. So I'm trying to take out the human element as much as possible, right? Because I want to have infotainment, but I want to have rank debate. I want to have actual quality. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense, Vigilante? Do you get what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm trying to make us the next level. I want to take us. So we I think Destiny and Andrew are like the second wave of MMA, right? I think now we're in the third wave. Now we're getting to like the GSPs, the people that have been doing other shit outside of this and are coming in, the big time pundits that are coming down. Like that's where I think we're at now. Yeah, and it's not just the growth; it's also like the like the resume. My resume is. I don't think you're even. I don't think you're doubting that. I don't think you disagree. Like, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, my resume is solid. Like, Destiny popped in on a stream the other night where I popped in on a Witch stream just randomly. Destiny popped in on a stream just to debate me, right? Like, that's not like saying anything that like, oh, I'm like top tier. Destiny thinks I'm quality, but it is saying that he at least thinks that, oh, I'm worth saying I'm an idiot to, right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
In deporting illegal
Yeah,
immigrants.
well, of course, Moop. You're very polite. We love you, Moop. Listen, you know, sometimes we get drunk and bad shit happens, some other shit, you know, whatever. But Moop, you're a good egg, and I value you as part of the community, right? So, yeah, I enjoy your company. And, you know, we love our Native American Canadian queen. She's a baddie, you know, and she's fun, and we like her. But, you know, and she's a little crazy. I'm a little crazy. We all get along.
Constitution of the United States, and as a conservative who cares about my social institutions,
I just don't want anybody to take this to World War debate and say I'm bashing. I just but several people asked me why I didn't sign up for the Contender Series, and since you brought it up, I just wanted to put out what my logic was. Also, like I wouldn't necessarily even have time because I have an opinion on when it is. I'm doing so many different things right now. I'm like overwhelmed, right? I have like 3 shows I'm trying to produce of my own, and I can put out, and that I like being more organized and go more professional, and it's just like. I'm very overwhelmed. My community's growing, but I don't have like I don't have like the community stepping up and doing shit for me. And even if I did, I don't know that I would trust them because I'm very much like I want things done my way, right? Like, you know, and even if I do something mid tier, you know, I did it myself kind of thing. So like, I don't know. I have these problems.
We should limit that to the maximum degree possible. Then not only that, but we should have a secure border. What was the other thing? Also, we should have a pragmatic and sane immigration policy when it comes to immigrant labor, because Americans and American agricultural, the American agricultural and services industry has profited from illegal immigrant labor for decades. And while that has subsidized consumer prices, it's been bad for the working class of America. So we should have like a sane immigration policy where any labor shortfall that truly fucks up our agricultural or services industry should be met with work visas. So, yeah, Gibbs, how about them fucking apples?
Oh, I missed something.
I actually believe.
Who cares about my social institutions? We should limit that to the maximum degree possible. Then not only that, but we should have a secure border. What was the other thing? Also, we should have a pragmatic and sane immigration policy when it comes to immigrant labor, because Americans and American agricultural, the American agricultural and services industry has profited from illegal immigrant labor for decades. And while that has subsidized consumer prices, it's been bad for the working class of America. So we should have like a sane immigration policy where any labor shortfall that truly fucks up our agricultural or services industry should be met with work visas. So, yeah, Gibbs, how about them fucking apples?
I actually believe in immigration control. I actually believe that the United States needs to have an organization like ICE in order to make sure that people entering our country illegally cannot, and that people that are illegal immigrants, if we cannot find a way to like resolve their legal status for them.
So you're going to go on paper now saying that ICE has done a fantastic job and you support everything they've done, correct?
Oh no, of course not. I will never say that.
Oh well, of course not.
Ever since the Trump administration has taken over and funded ICE with I think it was $90 billion, which is like more than the United States Marine Corps. ICE has been like terrible. I mean, they're murdering American citizens on the streets.
Murdering American citizens.
Yeah, they are. They're deporting American citizens.
They're deporting American
country, yes, they are deporting American citizens. That is an objective fact. Yes, I can go look this up right now. I don't have that exact.
And are they returned since they got deported on purpose? Because as far as I know, there's nobody who's not been brought back that was an American citizen that was sent away accidentally.
Well, hold on, Moop. I'm not bringing anybody into the VC right now. We're just doing this thing, and then I'm getting off. I want to get through this. You're welcome to hang out. Not because I know you. I want to get through this this fucking review thing because, you know, 1, I hate Connor. We're talking shit, and 2. Like, I think it's important to show the difference between what an actual conservative is versus what North and Connor are proposing, because they like to like represent themselves away and they're not. But Moop, yeah, I'm probably gonna do some kind of slosh thing Friday night. or maybe Thursday. And then you're more than welcome to hang out with us in there if you want to. But feel free to hang out in VC. And if anybody else wants to jump into VC, move is fun. Y'all go hang out and talk to her. We need to build more community shit here. But I'm gonna focus on this. Yes, I know you are concerned, but I'm gonna keep working through this. Whatever, guys, keep up the good work in the chat. Y'all are really helping all my numbers. Like I said, I just applied for partner again. You know, as a conservative, I'm probably gonna have to apply for partner like fucking 19 times. So even though I've had the numbers, whatever. We're gonna just keep grinding. It's fine. They can't keep us down if we keep following the rules and we keep succeeding. That's really the way it works. But they can slow my growth.
If that's the case, there's been lots of cases where governments have fucked up, and then once they realize they're fucked up in American history, where they've done something. So if anything, you're proving that Trump follows rule of law. So once again, I appreciate you doing this, and we're trying to tear down this new.
I supported 3
Hold on a second, I got a phone call.
U.S. citizens who are children. They have age 2, 4.
Oh, what was the case with those though?
Yes.
Oh, they were deported, right? But wasn't the option with those specific ones their parents were not citizens, they were being deported? So I guess what North wants is not another conservative. He wants to tear up families and make sure these kids don't have mommy and daddy, and sells them into the, I don't know, the Epstein camps. Because, oh, guess what? We know that the Biden administration was losing kids left and right. This is a documented fact as well. So once again, that's not conservative. You don't like families staying together?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they are open about it. They're moderate lefties, but they're still lefties. They're not righties.
Do you think that U.S. citizens should be deported from the United States, Gibbs?
I mean, if they're a child that is not able to take care of themselves, and their parents are non-citizens.
Hey, and great. And chat, hold on. I gotta just pause this. I gotta take this call. We'll be back in like 5 minutes here. Let me just put your pause screen up. We're gonna be right back. I need to take this call focused. I want to continue this. So give me a moment, chat, if you bear with me, and we'll continue this briefly. All right. All right. All right, guys. One second. Hey. All right, chat, guys. Unfortunately, we will continue the Connor hate stream in a little bit, guys. Or maybe later today before we go live at 7 p.m. tonight, guys. CST time. We're interviewing a congressional candidate for House 100. It's going to be good stuff. Make sure you're here because no one else is doing this in the space. We are talking to actual politicians. We're pushing conservatism. We're pushing this stuff, and we're talking and doing exciting things. Make sure you're here. Thank you all guys so much for the success of the stream today. I might be live later, but right now I got to raid out. We got to take care of this because we got exciting business being taken care of. So what are we going to do? Do y'all want to raid another politics guy, or do we want to? You know what? We're going to raid one of the best voice actors in the game right now. We're going to raid the Nasty Boys. Everybody go in there and say that we love you, all right? And then ask him to do his Darth Maul impression or ask him to do something else. All right, guys? That's what we're going to do. I'm sorry, guys. We'll probably be back in a little bit, but I need to take care of business, and we need to knock this out. On YouTube, I don't know how to raid yet, so you're fucked. But thank you all so much for the support. We'll be back later. Be back at 7. Everybody, make sure y'all go say hi to the Nasty right now. Thank you, guys. All right, give me 1 second, guys.